Here we go, y'all. It's part two. It's your boy KP.
And without DP, it's your boy Bong. What's happening?
Man, nothing much, man. Um, watched that NBA draft today. I know you were in and out, watching, in the
Yep.
feed, all of that. So
Yes, hey.
this is when we kind of recap some of the things that we saw in today's draft. Was there any pick that stood out to you or anything that you were feeling?
Um, I'd say, wow. For me, I was very interested coming into the show. I mean, coming into the event on where Ace Bailey would land
Hmm.
because it was a foregone conclusion. I think it was a foregone conclusion that um, Cooper Flag was going number one. Al sucks in my mock draft. Picked up on it. Yeah. We hey man, you know what it is. Especially DP is like the unofficial producer.
Absolutely.
So when he's not here, we build the plane as we fly. Um, K, KP is the impromptu producer. I think we got as you can tell by the thumbnail. I think the thumbnail is still saying the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. OKC wins in Game 7.
Yeah, it is.
We
It
got
is.
to
It is.
we got we gotta put a few things together. But until then, man. But I say the biggest thing I was trying to find out was, hey, where's Ace Bailey gonna land?
Hmm.
And you know, last time we had a situation where somebody was projected to go high, number one, and they ended up in the fifth round. I know that was the NFL, but
Yeah.
nothing is promised. So when they said, hey, he didn't work out for any teams. Uh, it was I don't know why, and I'm talking about it was across the board. There, I watch clips of Gil's Arena from time
Hmm.
to time, and they all the whole. I think the only person that was really in his corner was Rashad McCants. I think Rashad
Mm.
McCants and maybe Nick Young, but Kenya Martin, um, Brandon Jennings, they were, like, hey man, like how can you not work out? But then they were like, Kenya Martin, you didn't work out. And he was like, I think he said he worked out for one team. I think he worked out for New Jersey and he did some running and some jumping because he was coming off an injury. And he was like, had it not been for that, had it not been for me coming off an injury, I wouldn't have worked out for New Jersey. But then says, yeah, Ace Bailey, you should have worked out. It's like, you didn't work out, Kmart, but it is what it is, man. I just saw a lot of think pieces on it. What's my man, Bomani Jones? I'm pretty sure ESPN and a lot of those other folks, got their feel about what it was. But he landed at five. Dwayne Wade is a minority owner over there at the Utah Jazz where he landed.
Hmm.
So he'll definitely get a lot of tutelage from D Wade, with D Wade being in the building. And what I'm saying, I think that's you can have worse, you know, um, uh, not mentors, but worse. What's the word I'm looking for? A statesman, what I'm saying, or a spokesman for the game of basketball than D Wade. So I think he's in a good spot, and he seemed pretty happy. I think he talked about being from, where's he from? Like
He's from
Tennessee or
Atlanta.
something.
Yeah,
Atlanta.
yeah,
Oh,
Tennessee.
okay.
Excuse me. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
Okay. So he's from
Tennessee.
Tennessee,
And then
and
I
they're
think he
talking
moved to
to
Atlanta or
New Jersey,
something like
and
that.
then was in New Jersey to go to Rutgers. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying, he was just talking to him. I think they interviewed him. He did a few interviews after he got picked, and they asked him questions about, hey, like, do you feel slighted by a lot of these guys that were trying to besmirch your name? And he said, listen, I can control what I'll control what I can control. No hard feelings for whoever had anything to say. I let my basketball do the talking for me. I put in a lot of work coming into this process. So me working out for a team when they have all this tape, all this footage on me, all this, like prior basketball stuff on me. I just didn't feel it was necessary, and he landed where he landed. So, what I'm saying, good for him. That was my big thing. 'Cause I knew 1 and 2 were already kind of slotted
Hmm.
with Cooper Flag and uh, and Dylan Harper, who looks just like his dad. Man, that shit's crazy. I know you was talking about that earlier, but
Well,
bro,
well, I was talking about the son, his, Dylan Harper's brother. He had a
uh,
brother that was standing up there, like
yeah,
his side profile looked like a young Ron Harper. I'm
but
like, oh man,
he looked like a young Ron Harper. I guess.
yeah, he does. He
So
does.
but that was my biggest. That was the biggest thing I was looking for to see where he was going to land.
Okay.
Um,
And we got a couple comments. Walter Patton, my pops in the building.
what up? What up? What
What up,
up?
pops? A lot of Big Ten and foreign players. Um, you only saying that because you watched the Big Ten this year. And foreign players, that's been a thing every year in the first round as the NBA is continue to expand globally and get them global dollars, get them euros, and get them revenue deals in all those other countries. Don't be fooled though; it's still America's game.
Well,
Uh,
you know what? How sucks a mock draft says Chinese
oh
yogurt.
yeah, we
But
gonna get to that in a second. So,
I'll
uh,
say this
what's
before
up?
you go. Excuse me. Before you go,
Hmm.
um, I think the the NBA or the United States in general is going to start to see more of an invasion of the international players because a lot of the international players are. Remember how guys used to go from when they stopped they started the one and done, or you have to go at least 1 year in college, or you have
Hmm.
to be 1 year removed from high school.
Yeah, from high school
1 year removed from high school, and a lot of, well, not a lot, but people started to go overseas because they didn't want to play in
in
college,
college.
so
Yeah,
they went overseas for a year. Now, because of the NIL, they're saying that we're going to see an influx of international players that are going to come to the United States to go to college for that one, for not maybe not even just 1 year, but for, hey, maybe 2 or 3 years, because now you have that NIL money, and it's probably better than what they would be getting paid professionally overseas. You know what I'm saying? To come out here. So, like, yeah, this is not the end. This is more of the beginning. So, I don't know if, do you think the NBA is adapting a Euro League type of type of type of style, or do you think that the American way of playing basketball will kind of hold its own in the long run?
I think the American way is still gonna hold its style in the long run because when you look at the Olympics, USA won. When
Hmm.
USA decides to send their best players, whether it's the World Cup or whether it's the Olympics, they will dominate. They will win if they decide to send their best players.
I, that could be said from '92 through, maybe. I think that these Olympics, the last ones
Hmm.
that we just played in, where Steph had to be unconscious, um, with the heroics to pull it out
But
for
he
us.
was,
I-
yeah.
so yeah, what I'm saying is, we're starting to notice that the gap is closing, and I think the Steph heroics and, like, maybe like a LeBron heroics is the reason that even the NBA is still trying to hold on to some of these guys as superstars, because if let's take Steph out of the game, let's take LeBron out of the game. Which one of these young stars, if we're down 3, 4, 5 points and we need to go shot for shot, we can't afford to miss in this big moment against who were we playing in the finals? France? Was that France that
Yes.
we were playing?
Hmm.
Like, against a France team that was on our bumper. Which one of these young guys, that's the future of American basketball, do you think would have been could have done what Steph did.
This is I don't think anyone could have done what Steph did, but to make so I'll say just make plays down the stretch because what Steph did, only Steph in this probably era could have done that. Maybe Durant, but Steph was he was
It was
unbelievable.
sensational, right?
Yeah. So I'll say this isn't gonna sound good given his playoff performance. Anthony Edwards.
That's the only
Uh,
person I could think of in the back of my mind was Anthony
yeah,
Edwards.
it doesn't sound good because of the playoffs, but because of his
But
playoff performance. But
but
I
in a USA basketball setting, he's not going to be surrounded with older um, Mike Conley or uh, a Rudy Gobert who doesn't have any offensive game. I think he'll be surrounded by the best of the best, so it helps bring out the best in Anthony Edwards. But that's the only name that really came to mind. Uh, think
couple
about
things though, Bong. Walter Patton says international rules, so they're different, and that is something that America has to adapt to with those rules because you can grab the ball off the rim. Now you could see them start to do it, but that is an advantage that the international players seem to have over the Americanized players
it.
that play in the NBA games because
Yeah.
that's not allowed.
Yeah. Hey,
Uh,
and Al sucks and mock drafts. I think your earlier comment. Sorry, we kind of went off the reservation immediately, but um, you were saying so. Who do y'all think won the first round, and why is it San Antonio?
oh,
Uh,
so I wanted to you talked about Ace Bailey, right?
yeah.
I want to recap that real a little bit and talk about my thoughts on that Ace Bailey draft and what Utah did. So Utah, I believe they picked two players in the first round. It was Ace Bailey, and then they made a trade to get Walter Clayton Jr., who's out of Florida, a guard out of Florida. So I said it on air when I was live. I'll say it again earlier. I said it. Um, I didn't understand the Ace Bailey pickup to Utah, given the fact that you just drafted Cody Williams a year ago with the seventh pick in the draft. Ace Bailey is listed. They're listing him at 6'10", but they said he's 6'7" and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Cody about 190.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Williams is 6'7", 190. So it's similar position that you got. You also have you also got Bryce Sensabaugh the year before. 6'5", a little heavier, 235, but also at that forward position. You traded for John Collins last year to get him from Atlanta. You got John Collins playing a small forward spot as well because you have Laurie Markkinen playing the power forward position. John Collins got hurt, so he wasn't, able to maximize his skill set in Utah, but he was all right. So you bring in Ace Bailey, I just don't understand. It seems like you're gonna have to make a trade with those guys that I just mentioned. So that was the first thing. But then they get Walter Clayton Jr. Now, Walter Clayton is more of a scoring guard. You put him at the point because of his size, but a scoring guard, comfortable shooting the ball. Um, but you got Jordan Clarkson at the two, who he only played 37 games this year, but he played 26 minutes a game. You got Keontae George, who played 31 minutes a game. You got Colin Sexton at the one, who in 63 games played 28 minutes. And you got Isaiah Collier, who you drafted last year in the first round, who in 71 games played 26 minutes. So I'm trying to understand where the minutes distribution will come in for Walter Clayton, who's going to be a rookie. It's because you got those four guys taking the minutes at the guard spot. So my thought with Utah is you drafted 2 guys, you made a trade to get a second guy, but it seems like you're gonna have to get rid of some guys and make some trades and make some moves. And that's what Alf Sucks is saying right now. He's saying Colin Sexton will be out of there and Laurie Markkinen will be out of there. It just it I want
It's a
to see
log
the
jam.
yeah, exactly. I want to see the other moves before I say, "Hey, this is good" or "This is bad." Right now,
Well,
it's not making sense to me.
so I think part of it is um, the NBA may be adapting a sort of positionless type of basketball, right? Um, so remember, I was telling you offline, man. Like I was at work. I'm listening to the live. I'm chiming in, trying to
Mhm.
be, trying to do my damn job as well.
Trying to look
So,
like a supervisor.
right, exactly.
Go on,
Yeah,
take care of that.
yeah. You
You
got
got
it. You
the
got it. I'll be
phone.
over there in a
Yeah,
second,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I got to hear an interview with Dylan Harper after he got
Mhm.
drafted, um, and they asked him like, how did they think he was going to fit with um, with your boy
De'Aaron Fox,
De'Aaron Fox and Stephon
Stephon
Castle,
Castle. Yeah,
right? And he
yeah.
said that he envisioned. Now again, you're a rookie. What do you know? But you're the number 2 pick, so they're invested in you. He envisions them rolling out a 3 guard lineup and playing a style similar to OKC, who just won the championship, where they could roll out, where OKC at any given time could roll out a 3 guard or 4 guard lineup, right? Or when they go big, it's Chet and Hardenstein, but then they have three, I'm saying, 3 interchangeables. Um, and he's like, hey man, like sometimes it's Shea, it's SGA, Caruso, J Dub. You know what I'm saying? But is J Dub considered a guard?
Uh, technically, he's a forward, but he
Yeah,
can play a guard spot.
yeah. So yeah, like Scotty Boy said, NBA been positionless for the last 5, 7. I mean, so I think there's no team that can say, hey man, we have too many guards or we have too many of this. I think at this point, as long as you have one 7 footer that you can throw out there for the occasional matchups against a Chet Holmgren, a Wembenyama, uh, 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 what's the guy in Utah? Uh, we always talk about
Come on,
defensive player of the year.
marketing.
Frenchman. No,
Or,
Frenchman. Not
uh,
Utah, I meant Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Gobert.
Oh, Gobert. Okay.
As long as you got a guy that's 6'11", between 6'11" and 7'1", that you can throw out there on the nights that you have to face a true 7 footer, everything else is, it's amoeba basketball, man. Like we just gonna go with the flow. Like as long as we have a system that works and we have guys that can fill a specific role. Like I talk about OKC, and I'll continue to use them because they're king of the hill at the moment, right? You got SGA. He's the one that dominates the ball, but everybody else kind of fills the role. I think J Dub is a hell of a slasher. He's great in transition. You know what I'm saying? He can shoot the three if he needs to. He can pull up from 15 to 17 if he has to. But everybody kind of plays a role, and um, they go as so it's SGA and then everybody else playing the role. Caruso, we might have you defending a 7 footer. We may have you defending, the other team's best player, or it could be Lou Dort tonight, or just whatever. So I don't think like when teams make these picks that it's necessarily something where you have to assume that somebody else in that position or in a similar position is getting traded. Just because of the way the game is played nowadays. But that's just my personal opinion.
So to talk about the Spurs, right? And Dylan Harper. Um, for a while, I was wondering about that pick. Like, okay, you have De'Aaron Fox, you have Stephon Castle. How is this gonna work? And
We
then
talked about that.
And then I sat and I started thinking about it, and I said, okay, they also have Devin Vassell, and Devin Vassell plays 31 minutes. Castle played 27 minutes. Fox played 34 minutes. But Chris Paul also played 28 minutes. Chris Paul's not going to be there, so I can see Harper getting some of those minutes. Um, when I was first looking at it, I was saying, okay, he's the number 2 pick in the draft, so you're expecting the number 2 pick in the draft to play the lion's share of the minutes, right?
Right.
But if you take the approach, maybe not the lion's share, maybe 20 to 22 minutes a game as he, continues to develop and continues to grow and becomes familiar with that system, that might be a thing. I mean, he may get more than that, but if he gets 20 to 22 minutes a game, I still think that that's pretty good, and he's coming along as a player. But they've got guys at that position. The
Yeah.
other pickup that the Spurs did that I actually like is Carter Bryant
Okay.
out of Arizona. Um, Remember, I was saying for the longest Cooper Flag to San Antonio. Then I start saying Ace Bailey to San Antonio. That's like that small forward position. Carter Bryant's that small forward as well. And I wasn't thinking about, okay, you know what? They have 2 picks in the first round. They could get him the second go round. I just didn't cross
How
my
tall?
mind. Huh?
How tall is he?
Like 6'8", 6'9",
Okay.
athletic, about 215.
That's crazy to think that we call these what at 6'9" you would typically be a four or maybe a stretch four.
Yeah.
Now we're calling them threes.
Yeah. Like
Like
he's
6'8",
like
6'9".
yeah.
So okay, Al sucks in my draft says 6'9" with shoes, so maybe 6'8", 6'8" and a half. Either way, we're calling him a three. And when in you think about what was 6'9", what was 6'8" or 6'9" like in the 90s and early 2000s. That's a
Power
Dale
forward.
Davis.
You're
That's a
power
that
forward.
right. That's what I'm
You
saying. Like
could be,
that's a
yeah, you
Dale.
could, depending on your build, you could be a center. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
back
a
in the
Dale
day, hey man,
Davis. That's a
Bill Russell was 6'9", 215.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And I'm sorry,
Nunya, what's good with you, man? What's good with you?
uh what do you mean by PUI? Did you understand that, Bong?
No.
What happened to PUI? Okay. Please elaborate on that PUI. Um, but yeah, so they got Carter Bryant made a lot of sense. He'll come into the league as an athletic defender. And then with Harrison Barnes getting older, I believe he's 33.
Yeah.
He seems like the odd man out. So
Hey, Nunya, you should not hate the Celtics right now. They're getting younger. Like,
yeah, so
yeah. Go
so
ahead.
when you look at San Antonio and what they did in the forward at the forward spot, they got Sohan, they got Chimpagni, and they got Johnson, and now they just picked up Carter Bryant. That's a really good nucleus, man, to go with my guy Yama, as I always
Also
say.
known as women Wembenyama, but as
Uh,
DP would say. Um,
they've they've I think that they've got something.
okay.
And I think that they're going to become more and more competitive in the near future. But Alf Sucks in mock draft, I think he was the one that said that the San Antonio Spurs won the first round. I
Yeah.
would have to agree with him
Yeah.
wholeheartedly based on those 2 picks.
Hey, and Al Sexton mock drafts, I was he said he's a three in skill set more than size. Yeah, and I understand that, but I'm saying back in the day, 6'9", you're automatically pegged. You're not a three. You're for
Yeah.
sure not a three, right? You know what I'm saying? You're a Jason Tatum is not a three or whatever you want to call him in the late 90s, early
Well,
2000s.
let's say this. There weren't very many 6'9" threes.
That's true.
That's it.
That there you go.
Like
That part.
Larry Bird was like 6'10", he was one.
Hmm.
Um, James Worthy at 6'9" was one, although he didn't
He
really
could play.
look like a three.
Right. He
If you
just
start to
moved like
really watch him,
right.
it's like it was kind of nasty.
Yeah, he could. He was a four. He was. He
Yeah,
was. He was technically a four, but he could move a little bit.
yeah, he moved better
Because
than AC Green. So, so like AC,
ah, yeah,
get it?
that herky jerky shit, man.
Yeah, that
But yeah, so hey, yeah, Nunya, man, you saying you're done, man. I think the Celtics are moving to get younger, right? Didn't
this
they
is the
bring in Anthony
Celtics fan that's
Simons?
talking right now, y'all. This,
Did they bring in? Didn't they bring in Anthony Simons? Got rid of two older
yeah,
aging players that they. It's like
Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday got rid of Porzingis, who like now that the internet is doing taking, you know, going a different direction with whatever he got going on.
Man,
I
that man
don't
had
want
a
to.
virus for like 3 months, man.
Yeah, I
So
know.
yeah, it's
So
unfortunate.
but I'll say, man, the Celtics are moving like another team out of Boston, the New England Patriots. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Back in the Bill Belichick era, where it was like, hey, man, we're going to get rid of you a year early rather than holding on to you and waiting a year late. So if we can get value back for Drew Holiday
Hmm.
and Anthony Simon, for the most part, everybody says that he can put the ball in the basket. Guess what? You're going to miss Jason Tatum for the entirety of this year. You need somebody that can put the ball in the basket. Why not bring in? Go ahead, KP.
Oh no! I'm listening. I'm
Yeah.
looking. I'm reading the
Why?
comments.
Yeah.
A lot of the
Why not
comments are
bring
being
in?
talked.
Why not bring in a young, Simons? He said. Nunya said Simons on the block already.
Yeah,
Damn. Okay.
yeah,
Well, we'll see, man. It's still early in the off season, and I think the NBA is. I've seen a lot more activity than normally happens this early in the off season. Been a
yes,
lot of trades, a lot of picks were traded. I mean, they're moving picks into 26, already. So, for the NBA, that's movement, and that's good. I can live with it. But you think I don't know. Well, let's see. I don't think they overhaul the entire roster because Jason Tatum got hurt, during the playoffs.
So with what you said, I like the pick for Simons. Simons is a scorer. It seems like Boston is going to go into the direction of scoring. Drew Holiday, I don't think that Drew Holiday at this point in his career is as good as a scorer as Simons. I'm not saying that he's not a better player. We're just talking about one side of the ball and scoring. One of the things that the coach for Boston was doing um, had them chucking up threes. That's what they did in the playoffs. Drew Holiday is not a 3-point shooter. Simons is a better 3-point shooter. So it's clear they're going into the direction of chucking up threes. That's what they're going to do. The other
Yeah.
thing I like about Simons can get you 20 to 25, but Simons is passive. So now you put him in Boston with some guys that aren't passive, Jalen Brown, Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. Now they're going to force him to come out his shell more, but he doesn't have to give them 25 like he was thrust in the position at Portland to try to do. They were trying to make him a leader and a franchise guy, and he doesn't have the personality to be a franchise guy. No disrespect to the man, plays basketball well, but that's not his thing. I think he's better suited of being a sidekick than being the actual guy.
Were you talking about Anthony
Yeah,
Simons or
Anthony
Kevin
Simons.
Kevin Durant?
No, I'm talking about Anthony Simons. Look,
Oh,
this guy,
okay.
this
Oh,
guy.
I didn't. I know. I couldn't. When it was just no. I blinked for half a second and I started hearing the description and
This
it sounded like Kevin Durant. But
guy.
again, he's talking about Anthony Simon. Simon. So. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
think Boston's going to be all right. Boston's going to be a playoff team. There's a lot of movement going on in the Eastern Conference. We talked about it on Sunday. Was it Sunday? Yeah, we talked about it on Sunday where we said that the East is wide open. How many good teams are in the East? We don't believe in Cleveland, right, until they show us they can do it in the playoffs. Um, New York doesn't even have a coach at this point, so there's still some uncertainty there. Indiana just lost one of their, what somebody from the other day was saying was their team leader,
yeah.
right? In Tyrese Halliburton. So you can take Indiana off the table unless there's going to be
It,
a concerted effort to lean into Siakam being a 30 point a night guy.
you know what
Um,
they're gonna do, Bong?
yeah,
Indiana is going to go out and bring in Russell Westbrook. Russell
uh,
Westbrook on a rental to Indiana.
does he do what I can see it. I can see it because now that I think about it, Halliburton is not giving you 30 a night. He may have
Yeah.
30 point games, but he's not giving you 30 a night. He's giving you 17 or 18 a night, 11 assists. If you bring in Russell Westbrook in that type of environment where it's kind of like there's no real standout, anybody can get hot at any moment. You know what I'm saying? We lean on 3 to 4 guys as opposed to 1 or 2. Um, I mean, I can see it from the assist standpoint. I don't think he takes. I don't think offensively, shot taking and making, he takes and makes as good a decision as Tyrese Halliburton.
No, he doesn't.
But from the assist standpoint, I think his
I
motor,
Yeah,
his
that's
motor is
what I was
one of
gonna
his.
say. He's gonna give you another dynamic in
Yeah,
that regard.
yeah, no, for sure. So like his hustle and his the heart that he plays with. I think he's always competing, regardless what the score is. So you're never out of a game because he's not going to, he's not going to give up. He's not going to sell the team short. Um, no, no, we don't need Russ and KD together. That's 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 oil and water, man. They're better as friends from different teams.
And
So
engineer agrees with you.
yeah, 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 yeah. But wow. So I mean, I believe in Boston. They're not going to win a championship, but they're a playoff team. Nunya, I believe that they're a playoff team. That's just because I don't think you have any star power. So Dame is out for Milwaukee, right? There's a good chance that Giannis does not return to Milwaukee, even though Glenn Rivers is trying to sell us on the fact that that Giannis wants to come back
Damn,
to
Bond,
Milwaukee.
he can't be the doc.
Not yet. He ain't been to Doc since '09 or was that what was that? Was that '09
Oh
that they
eight,
beat '08?
oh
It was
eight.
the '08. It was
Yeah.
'08. And I'm still mad that we gave him that chip. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so you talk about Milwaukee. Giannis is potentially gone. Dame Lillard is out. Right, he's coming off the Achilles. You talking about Indiana. You're talking about New York, who I see as a favorite, but right now they're still in flux because they don't even know what they want to do with the coach. Did they have any draft picks?
No, they
Okay,
didn't.
they didn't even need a coach because they weren't picking. So
Yeah.
but no
But
coach,
the
so
but
they're
the
still
but the coach generally doesn't make the pick, it's the front office.
right. But the
His
coach has
team.
some input though, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So you got who are the 8 teams? Who are the eight playoff teams from the East this year? And I can start knocking them off. I say there's a good chance that the Magic come in as one of the 2 or 3 favorites um, next season, right? So you have the Magic, you have New York. Who else? Like
Um
who else? Who else is there?
Detroit.
Detroit. Okay, they've made a name for themselves. They turned the
Um
corner, but again, they turned the corner. Can they follow it up with as good a season as they had this last year? Is
uh,
that a flash in the pan, or is it the real thing?
No, I think Orlando's gonna be pretty good. Well, Detroit. I think Detroit's gonna be pretty good. Uh, you had Atlanta was in the top 8, but they didn't make it because they lost to Miami.
Who?
Atlanta, but they lost to
Okay.
Miami. So they
Atlanta's always hit or miss, right? They could be a
mhm.
4 or 5 seed. They could be a 10 seed. Like
Yeah,
you
at one
just
point
you
they
never
made
know.
the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
with
And
the
they're always good for they're always good theater, especially when it comes to them playing the Knicks. They love to knock the Knicks off,
yeah.
beat the Knicks head in. So I'm saying it's not doom and gloom, Nunya, for the Boston Celtics. I believe that they'll be a playoff team. I don't think that they'll win a championship, but we didn't think that when you lose Jason Tatum. They're obviously moving some things around. The one thing we'll say, KP already said, they have an identity. I don't agree with it. I don't think it's the smartest way to play basketball. But what I do have to respect is the fact um, that they have an identity. And I know none of you were talking about that. I think it was that Karen Reed, the Karen
Yeah.
Reed case. I haven't been looking into it, but I'll definitely I'll definitely try and read up on it when I get a chance later on. But
And Scotty Boy's been asking, is Holiday going to Houston?
that's what DP posted a really quick short about it, and my response in the comments was, what happens when they start trying to uh, put these super teams together. It never works. It never works, man. Let it. Houston had something good. Ime Udoka is going into his 3rd year.
Hmm.
First year, he takes them. They almost make the playoffs. I think they won like 36, 37 games, something like that. Matt probably missed the playoffs by about 5 or 6 games. Right. That was the
Hmm.
first year. Second year, they're a playoff team. They're a playoff team. Not only are they a playoff team, they're the number 2 seed in the West. Right. So you have you go from a 30 something win team to the number 2 seed in the West. You bring in Kevin Durant to basically up to give you an upgrade over um,
Jalen
Jalen
Green,
Jalen Green. Okay, that's
Scott,
another.
engineers guy.
Yeah. Engineers boy Jalen. So you've upgraded the roster, and you found a way to kind of do it organically, where you have a bunch of young pieces. You got a really great nucleus. Don't start tinkering with that shit and bringing in the old guy that's bitter from his last team, and you're fucking up the chemistry. I
Hmm.
was at One of my cousins was asking me earlier, what do I think? How do I think it's going to play out with KD? There you go. There he goes. There I am. Mystical. There I am. But we were talking about, he was asking me, how do I think it's going to work out with KD in Houston? And I told him, I think Ime Udoka is going to bring the best out of KD. Whatever's left, whatever he has left in the tank, Ime Udoka is going to bring out the best in KD. I believe he's going to give him free reign on offense. KD will have his way on offense with Ime Udoka, but I also believe he's going to ask a lot of him. Well, not a lot, but he's going to ask to get a little bit more from him on defense, right? So hey, listen, man, it's a give and take. You can do what you want to do. We'll run it through you on offense. On defense, give me a little bit more. The only question is Ime going to ask him to be a leader? Is that a requirement? Or is Ime young enough that he can kind of be the leader from the bench as opposed to who? If it's not KD, who's the leader of the team? If it's not KD, it's too many young players. Is it Fred VanVleet?
He's got a championship. He's
Does
a
that make him?
veteran.
Does it make him a leader?
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. I mean, he was a leader this past season in the playoffs.
I mean, you know, hey, hey,
Of
nah,
course, of course,
engineer.
engineer. No, 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 no. Yep, of course.
I kept it funky. I'm trying to be objective. Only I
I'm
said,
Nah,
fucking with you.
yeah,
he took you took a couple digs.
yeah, no.
But
Those are real. Those are real questions. I think, like I said, Ime's going to bring out the best of him. I think he gets, hey man, KD, you're an artist. Here's a free Here's a blank canvas. Paint it how you want to on offense. On defense, give me a little bit more so I can hold the young guys accountable. Those two things I think are etched in stone. The leadership aspect. Are you going to ask KD to be a leader, or will you allow him to just come in, play basketball? Because we know that's what he wants to do. He just wants to come in and play basketball, no strings attached. I don't want to have to, I want to lead by example. I don't want to have to be the vocal leader. I don't want to have to be the guy that has to get the young guys in order. But that's a team with a hell of a lot of young players, if you ask me.
okay.
Um,
Good question, Scotty boy.
what's Scotty Boy's question? Oh,
What do y'all think Houston is missing? Apparently, a few people think they're missing Drew Holiday.
yeah. I think Drew Holiday would be perfect.
I
Was he there with no, he wasn't there with Ime. He came the year after, right?
Yeah, he wasn't there with Email though.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, he came right after. I think I think they need a point guard.
Yeah,
I don't like Van Fleet as the starting point guard.
Holiday is a perfect fit. Plays defense. He can score, get people involved. Doesn't have to be the main guy. Does a little bit of everything, a little bit of a lot of stuff.
Holiday's gonna do some goofy shit like end up in Indiana or something.
Shit, they need him too.
Before you got on here, DP, I was saying they're gonna get Russell Westbrook for a 1 year rental. Indy,
Oh, Indiana.
yeah,
Could you see a Russell Westbrook reunion with Kevin Durant in Houston?
no
Absolutely not.
seats
That's
taken.
all. That's all.
Yeah, Durant gonna have his hand in the seat like, nah, seats
Seats
taken.
taken.
Yeah,
Seats
like
taken. Young
seats
Forrest.
taken.
Hey, they set my boy Forrest up for a lifetime of hurt. They didn't give my boy Forrest a seat. This motherfucker end up with Jenny. This this bitch gave this motherfucker a lifetime of hurt. Let me tell you.
Hey, but on the on what's his name shit, uh
Damn it.
Drew Holiday, I was saying Drew Holiday is kind of like Durant in terms of his game translates to pretty much any type of bless you,
Bless you.
Thank you.
any type of team, any type of scenario. He's the kind of guy who would any team would benefit from having. Like y'all say, KD, it don't matter where he gonna hoop, he gonna find a way. Drew Holiday the same way. I mean, he's just not a prolific scorer
Yeah,
like Durant, but Drew Holiday will probably get busy anywhere.
And what he lacks on offense, he makes up for it on defense. So I mean, he's definitely
And that motherfucker got offensive game too. He
yeah,
just don't. That's not what he's called to do.
well,
right.
with Boston, he didn't have to.
Right.
Shit, with Milwaukee, he didn't have to.
And he would pick and choose his spots in
Right,
Milwaukee.
right. And he
Yeah,
had moments in the finals where it's like, okay, man, shit, if you're gonna leave me open, I'm gonna bust your head for 5 threes. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's but again, we keep venturing off, but we're supposed to be doing a draft recap.
yeah.
So,
DP, is there anything that caught your attention about the draft tonight? Any players going anywhere,
Man, I was just trying
good or
to
bad?
I was trying to weave through traffic, man. I was living through you through the draft. You was on that marathon.
that's what
Yeah,
I told him. I said, I'm at work. I'm trying to chat, trying to hop in the
Yeah.
chat. I'm telling the motherfucker, no. Put it over there. Like,
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I couldn't even
I was in a couple of meetings with my headphones on.
yeah, I couldn't even keep up with who was getting picked and stuff and
uh,
yeah.
Another weird situation to me was Washington and what they did. They had two first rounders. They took Trey Johnson. I think he was like pick number 6. I want to make sure and say the right pick order. Trey Johnson, yes, he was number 6. And then they also took Will Riley at 21. It's a trade from Utah, so he's going to be headed there. But my thoughts with those particular picks, Washington, you've got Bub Carrington, you got Bilal Coulibaly, you've got Malcolm Brogdon, you've got AJ Johnson, you just traded for CJ McCollum, you have Marcus Smart, and you have Kaishan George. These are all guards. That's 7 guards that I named. But then you take Trey Johnson as a lottery pick and you take Will Riley in the first round. You're log jammed. You're going to have to figure out what you're doing with some of these other guys. And I talked to DP off air, and I know he's like, man, CJ McCollum's out of there. Okay, that's 8 guards. But what are you doing with Marcus Smart,
Man,
Malcolm
KP,
Brogdon?
KP. We talking about the Wizards, right?
Yeah, we talking about the
You know
Wizards.
what the Wizards wrote on the board and on their draft board in the in the war room or whatever you want to call it?
What's that?
All caps. We don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just saying, like, what are we talking about the Wizards for?
I'm talking, we're just doing a draft review. So I'm talking about things that stood out to me where I was like, why did they go in this direction?
They
What are
don't
we,
have a
what are we doing?
direction. They just picking like who their favorite was or something. Like I don't know, man. It's the same thing I told you about Utah. It's almost like they'll take a pick of who do we think we can develop a little bit and trade in a couple years, and if the guy is really just out of this world, then maybe we'll build around him. But they don't like what is the direction?
Hey,
Yeah, I
while we're
don't know.
talking about teams that don't know what direction they want to go in, did you guys hear? I think it was the owner, one of the Cronkies, the owner of the Denver Nuggets.
About trading, not wanting to think about trading.
Right, but the
Yeah,
context in which he stated it. So he said that they're not afraid of the NBA's second apron, right? And anybody that knows or doesn't know, the second apron is let's say basically a threshold. So let me try and read it. That triggers team building restrictions for high spending teams, right? So it's trying to get like it's and the Lakers were the reason that this whole all these different taxes and luxury taxes and all this shit started happening because the Lakers were doing like the Yankees used to do in baseball, where like we don't give a fuck about being above the luxury tax. So um, they started to add, like different restrictions because the Lakers could just outspend everybody because a team like OKC or a team like Utah or a team like one of
All
these
marquee teams.
teams just couldn't compete with the dollars and the revenue that the Lakers brought in. So the Cronkies, I guess, who own the Denver Nuggets, said we're not afraid of the second apron, but when you start playing around in that second apron, you're one injury away, or you're a couple injuries away from, having to possibly do the unthinkable and think about trading 15. And if you're listening to it on the surface, you're like, man, that's crazy as hell. You would even think about that. I think they're just opening the door for what they think may have to happen anyway. Dallas has already greased the skids for him to, hey man, it's not the end of the world. You know what I'm saying? We can maybe get something back for him. Maybe
The
get a
NBA will look out for you.
yeah, exactly. So, hey, the NBA, we need our star players in big markets, is what's being said behind closed doors. I refuse. I'm not going to go to the NFL. I'm just going to use it as a reference point because we will broach that subject, and when we do, I want to deep dive thoroughly, as my boy Trey Songz would say. I'm about to dive in, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But with the shit that I found out about the NFL and how collusion is a real thing and we have it documented, I it wouldn't be above, you know what I'm saying, the realm of reality that there could be collusion in the NFL, I mean in the NBA, where all the owners are on the same page of, hey, listen, to grow the league, to get this product out to the masses, we need Jokic to be in a bigger market. We can't have Jokic in Denver. And that's a reality we have to live with. That's like saying Luka is already in a fairly big market in Dallas, but LA is much bigger and a much better market for him, and also for us to grow the NBA, who is constantly uh, on the short end of the stick when it comes to the NBA versus the NFL.
Yeah, I don't think that's not going to change.
But what I'm saying is, you still have to find a way to reach the masses, right? So if we have maybe, again, you have to remember the NBA is dealing with a reality of, hey man, you know what I'm saying, mama, papa, they ain't got too many more years left. That's
Hmm.
LeBron. That's Steph.
Yeah.
That's Kevin Durant. Like, these are KD, Steph, and LeBron. They're the elder statesmen. But that's Mama. That's Papa. Man, woo. Papa ain't moving like he used to. You know what I'm saying? He always talking about that bad hit. He came. Hey, in reality, it's on. Papa gonna be in the upper room pretty soon. What's going to be what's the next step for the NBA once we lose a generation of stars, right? They were there to usher in that new crop of stars when the Kobe's, the AIs, the T Max kind of, gracefully bowed out. The Carmelo would have been with them, but you know what I'm saying, as they gracefully bowed out, LeBron, Steph, KD, they carried the torch. And you had the second tier, the James Hardens, the Russell Westbrooks, those guys that kind of carried the torch. But now, as they start to usher out, and we already know that Anthony Edwards is on record saying, "Whether I don't give a fuck what you want. I'm not a face of the league. I'm gonna do everything in my power to not be the face of the league. I'm gonna cuss when I want to cuss. I'm gonna show my ass when I want to show my ass. I might go get me a couple more baby mamas to show, let y'all know for real, I'm not about it." Who is the one that's gonna usher in the next generation of stars that's gonna carry the league? We gotta put them
Adam
right.
Silver.
Anthony Anthony Edwards
Hey,
is
they're too busy focusing on globalizing the NBA, making it a global sport, and you know, not really looking at the homegrown, cultivating the homegrown talent. Not only are you gonna be in trouble with the NBA in terms of finding a star, uh, when the Olympics come here to LA, Team USA is gonna be
28.
struggling.
And that's what I was just telling
Team
KP
Team Team
before you
USA
got on.
Team USA is going they got to figure some shit out.
I
Before
believe
you
that when
got on.
I believe that when if they roll out their best 12 guys or 10 guys, however many it is, I think that they'll win.
I,
your
I was
your MVP is Canadian.
yeah, he's Canadian.
He's not on the USA team.
The last
Okay.
MVP
Yeah.
is
He
Jokic.
he's not on the USA team. You
They don't have a
just
bunch
you
of
you
Jokic's
you,
on those
you
other
just
teams.
you just lost uh Jason Tatum, who was probably going to play, didn't play in this last one, but he was probably one of the guys that was gonna play. In
He
the
still can
in
play. 2028.
Jason Tatum is gonna need some time. Maybe around that time he'll be rounding up
Yeah,
because the 2 year
2028.
thing, but we'll see. You
Yeah.
got but you got to see if he wants to go out there and play after his injury. Maybe he will, maybe he won't.
How old will
He
he be?
already got his gold medal,
How old
so
will he be at that age? At
like
that time?
like 30.
Okay, still
Yeah.
young.
Yeah, like 30. Um, I mean, so okay, so you gonna say Tatum, Anthony Edwards, Bam.
Bam. Yeah.
Bam is a superstar that you can depend on.
Oh no, Bam gets busy.
I
Bam
don't
is
think Curry doesn't go
nah.
back even if he's
Curry's
still in the
done.
league. He's
Curry's
not going
done.
back.
LeBron's done.
LeBron's
Durant's
done.
done.
Durant's done. Like I'm
Hey,
just saying, man. It's
Curry pulled the hammy and was like,
Uh,
"Yeah, I'm done
uh
because I got next year to look forward to."
J Dub will be on that Olympic team. I think that
Does he scare?
there-
will do you
Does J Dub
send
scare you?
who?
he's
J
pretty
Dub.
good, man. I
Does he
think he'll
put
be all
fear?
right.
Does he put fear in another country's eyes or in their heart? I like
He look, he's gonna be on the team.
right. And what I tried to tell KP, and he tried to convince me otherwise. I asked, who's gonna do what? If you're in a tight game against France in the finals of the Olympics, and you need somebody to go bucket for bucket, no misses. Who's gonna do what Steph did?
You
Who's
would
gonna give you that moment?
It may not be threes, but it could be Anthony Edwards if it's not threes.
Same name KP says, same name
Yeah.
I came up with, but
Yeah, if it's
outside of him,
Oh,
so you
I like
yeah,
what
Ben
engineer said.
Caro.
Paulo Banchero, if he chooses to play for USA,
Yeah,
what is he?
right.
Does he have dual citizenship?
I think so. Italian.
Okay. So I
Yeah.
mean we'll
Hey,
see.
I'm just saying
KD not gonna be here
they got
in
some stuff to
28.
figure out. Is all I'm saying.
KD, Scotty Boy, KD will not be on the USA team in 28.
Yeah, if KD's on the team in 2028, it's
And
crazy.
Scotty
Hey,
Boy, I saw your
Crazy.
question about Fred Van Fleet. If Holiday were to come over, yeah, I think Houston would move off of Van Fleet if they pick up Holiday. Yes, regardless of whatever they're saying about him and what he brings to to the locker room. Yeah. So, Ben Caro, Puerto Rican. I don't know. I don't know what Ben Caro is.
that
Nah,
Puerto
nah, nah. He's Italian.
that
He
Puerto
said he
Rican
thought he
judo.
was Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Oh, judo, no? That Puerto Rican judo.
yeah.
Hey
Father's
man,
Italian, and his
Yeah,
mom,
yeah, but
black woman that played for Washington. UW.
Al sucks at mock drafts. All those players you named are good players. They're really young, and you get them against
The
that
savvy old
Canadian team or yeah, a savvy old veteran team, and they're gonna have some trouble.
and some of these aren't accurate because the Thompson twins are Jamaican, so they may play for Team Jamaica. Mobley, Mobley has already tried to play for the Bahamas, so they won't be playing for USA.
Yeah, but you need a guy like Mobley for USA.
Yeah, but he's already tried to play for Team Bahamas. Him and his brother,
So
Evan.
does that eliminate them from playing for the
Yes,
okay?
yes,
So Embiid never played for anybody else?
no.
ooh, no, not Brunson name, not the guy they say ain't good enough. He might be a he might be a New York street ball legend, but he ain't making no noise in the Olympics though.
I mean, is Brunson leading them to the
Hell
gold
nah.
medal?
Apparently not. No.
Um, I think he
I,
can. I think he could help assist get them there. I
well,
mean, international play is going to be different. It's not going to be a one man show where dominate where he's dominating the ball. So I'm just curious to see, but we'll know more once they get the new coach in New York, because I think that when they get the new coach in New York, his style of play is going to
Who's
change.
gonna coach Team USA too? That's another thing. Who's coaching? It ain't gonna be Kerr. You
Nah,
got a lot of shit to figure out. That's all I'm saying. I ain't saying they can't win. Shit gonna look a whole lot different though.
Again, we had a succession plan from, if you go back to the '92 Olympics. There was, and the funny thing is, there was a succession plan, except it was a hiccup when Braun was fresh into the league. Remember, that's when they won bronze. They won bronze that year, where it was Melo,
2004, 2004.
AI,
Yeah,
Braun, and a couple other.
Richard Jefferson,
Yeah, yeah,
Amari Stoudemire.
right. It sound like the team that y'all constructing right now with. Let me see what Al Sucks in My Draft said, with all these little uh, ragamuffins, just a couple ragtag players here and there.
That's not why they lost though. They lost in 2004. That was coaching. That was
Again,
like that was Larry Brown not wanting to play his young guys.
Kay Cunningham. I like that. Kay Cunningham, I think, would be a good addition to the squad.
hey, again, listen, Ime's Nigerian.
Hey man,
Ime,
what's his name?
Ime,
What,
Ime. Who you talking about? Which one of them? Which one of them
hey,
traitors?
hey man, Embiid.
Them B sorry ass,
Yeah.
Yeah, Embiid came
you
over.
know,
That's
trade in
what I
this.
said. Did Embiid? I
Man,
was wondering if he ever played
So,
for
hey man,
hey,
Nigeria
Royal
Cameroon.
Ivy
No,
went and
no,
coached.
Embiid is Cameroonian or something.
or
Hey,
Cameroon. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
Cameroon, not
Embiid
Nigeria.
sold
Cameroon.
his soul for the U.S. gold.
hey man, Royal Ivy went to and coached South Sudan. And
Yeah.
Royal Ivy ain't African at all. He ain't from there.
Hey, he said he gonna get in where he fit in, man.
Yeah,
Get where you fit in, man.
right.
But again, it's starting to sound more and more like that '04 team, where there's no cohesion. Who's the leader, right? You got a leader that we everybody look. I posed a question, KP, before DP even gets on. He says Anthony Edwards. I agree. DP comes on, hasn't heard the conversation. He says Anthony Edwards. Everybody wants Anthony Edwards to take the mantle. Anthony Edwards don't want it.
Ah, De'Aaron Fox. Yep.
These is all good. These is all good players. I'm talking about outside of that '04 season where there was a hiccup, and I think if you give LeBron the mantle, is he ready to take it in '04? I don't know. But you got a better chance if you let him and Melo get more minutes, as opposed to, like, I can't even remember all the old dudes.
I could tell you everybody on the team.
You gonna
I
have
tell you.
Chet Holmgren on there too.
You had Allen Iverson, Stephon Marbury, Dwayne Wade, Carlos Boozer, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, Emeka Okafor, Sean Marion, Amari Stoudemire, Tim Duncan, Lamar Odom, and Richard Jefferson.
And all them people sound like Bam Adebayo, De'Aaron Fox, this and that. This, who's the guy?
That's the squad that lost.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
squad
that
that lost.
was the '04
That was a
squad.
good enough squad. I don't think it was coached well.
Hmm.
Man,
I'm telling you, I don't think it was coached well.
Hmm.
okay. That sounds like I said, that sounds like a Bam Adebayo,
Yeah,
De'Aaron
Booker.
Fox. Yeah, sure. Devin Booker, who couldn't even get it done with KD giving you 25 a night. But we think he gonna come and be impactful.
That's different.
Nah,
That,
it's
that
not.
no, that's different.
Don't
No,
do that.
that's
Don't do that.
different.
We was just shitting. We was just talking shit about why is Booker not held responsible
Um,
for
that's
holding his
different.
own. No, no,
That
no, no.
how's that?
We,
Why isn't it
I
different?
damn sure was. And I said
You're
nobody talked
taking
about Bradley Bill.
you're
right.
taking the best players in the country and pairing him with the best players in the country. The Phoenix Suns aren't paired with the best players in the country. He had Kevin Durant as the best player in the country, or one of the best players in the country, but he had a whole lot of other pieces as well.
What
So
are you
that's
talking about?
different. I'm
No,
talking about um, Devin Booker playing for Team USA in the Olympics versus playing for the Phoenix Suns team. That's two
no.
totally
It's
different
I would
things.
say that it's harder to play for Team USA than it is to play for the Phoenix Suns, where you have a hierarchy and you're either one or one A, and
How would that?
you can flip it because again, you're bringing a cast of players, right? That what's your skill set? Does somebody else do what you do? Um, you know what I'm saying? Just as good, if not better than how you do it. Now
Did,
you're in a position where you're not getting as many shots, right? So you have to be efficient. I know that I could put KD on a team right now with a bunch of other great players, and KD can still go out there and be efficient with 7 to 10 shots.
but that's the difference, though, Bong. He only has to hit 7 out of 10 shots. He's only taking 10 shots. He's not
He
trying to take.
said he only got to shoot 70%
He can
from
do
the
that though.
field.
But when you
He
got
only got
Curry,
to shoot 70% from the field.
DP, when you got Curry on the court with you, and you got Anthony Edwards on the court with you, and you got LeBron on the court with you, you're not going to see those double teams. So he can do that more times than not because it's different than playing with the Suns when you're seeing double teams every single night. You're
I'm
not
not
getting
I'm
USA.
not banking on any of them being as efficient as Kevin Durant, number one. That's Booker on down to the rest of the roster. So I'll start with that. But I do think um, that the game is easier on Team USA just because of you have the cream of the crop talent and they just open up the floor for all kinds of different shit. So they should just be running over whoever the comp is
He
just
also
like,
doesn't have to score 25 a game on USA basketball. You're not going to have to do that.
yeah, I mean he has to carry a bigger load on, he has to shoulder more of the responsibility with the Suns.
Yeah.
Listen, hey, engineer, I believe that given enough time, given a few more minutes, we would have got to Zion, and they would have tried to sell me on the fact that Zion fills out that 12, and somehow that ragtag group of players that we haven't mentioned one superstar, the only potential up and coming superstar. Hey, let's throw Ja on the team. Ja Morant, he'll come out there and have some
Yeah, I was
fun,
getting ready to ask that.
some
Why
high
why
flying
why not
shit.
throw Ja on the team?
That's what I'm saying. Throw him on the team. But what I'm saying is, which one of those guys can I depend on? Every era had that. So '92 Dream Team. Who was the guy?
I think we all know.
Okay.
It was Charles Barkley that led the charge.
I was about to
no,
say Stockton.
no,
Oh man.
no. I mean,
And then
Charles
I
Barkley
think
led the
They
team in scoring, but it was Michael
Stockton was
Jordan.
walking through the streets and nobody even recognized who he was.
get this bum out of here.
He was
But
taking pictures with people wearing the Team
The
USA
Stockton
shirt.
jersey.
hey, like, hey man,
Oh,
where'd you get
Like,
that from? I thought that
oh,
was a
that's me
player
right
edition.
there.
Thought that was a player edition shirt right there. Yeah. I know people. But um, again, I can list all the NBA, the Olympic teams, and I guarantee you can pick out who the guy was. And there's other guys that you can say like, okay, this person also plays well off of this guy. This person plays well off of this guy. I just don't. I think we're headed into a position with USA basketball where we could do a deep dive into like what the reasoning behind it. Everybody wants to blame AAU at some point in time. Like, are we not developing players? You know what I'm saying? And if it's a grassroots issue, then what are we doing? The NBA, you should be invested in grassroots basketball to
they're
where
they're not.
there's better development, you know what I'm saying, of our young American athletes so that when and I was talking to KP before you got on DP and saying that because of the NIL, a lot of international players are starting to opt to come to college in the United States, where they can, they can get their NIL money for 2 or 3 years and then get
After
drafted,
after
Playing broke.
already playing
bro,
professionally.
from
Yeah.
like 15 years old, right? And
The
then coming out here getting NIL money and then getting drafted in the NBA.
The
the
NBA, what did I say a minute ago? I said the NBA is more concerned with the globalization of the sport. The grassroots stuff that you talking about, Bong, is what's needed for all the stuff that we saying. You know, cultivating the talent over here, taking care of Team USA, coming up with the new crop of faces of the league or whatever you want to say. Like,
Yeah,
but the NBA is
right,
focused on, you know, expanding globally.
right. So what happens in grassroots is this: you have, and again, you guys both know, my 12-year-old plays basketball, um, and just seeing it from multiple levels, you're expected to come into the game. You're expected to come onto the team and already has not the 51st state. So, so
Area 51.
you have kids, and they're expected to come to the team with skills. We're not developing you. We're going to show you how to run a couple of plays that, maybe we have a system that we run, but we're not developing you. You have to go and do that on your own. Typically, basketball is and football are what? Lower income sports, right? They're the sports
they,
that you
they
can.
were. They
They
still
were. That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
Typically,
yeah, they
that's
were.
what they were. They
Yeah.
were the lower income sports where somebody like a LeBron James, who just, freakishly athletic, going to the the boys and girls club. Same story that AI had. Same story LeBron James has. Same story that 90% of these NBA players had, right? And the reason that they resented somebody like Kobe, who was able to have a father in the NBA, play in Italy, come back on some bougie shit, right? Nah, we don't fuck with you. We fuck with AI. That used to be what it was. Now they expect you to come in with a high skill set, and you have to pay, or however you develop yourself on your own, you have to come in fully developed. And when you do, we'll just take you as you are and say, hey man, we're gonna put you out here, go win us some games, and that's all we care about. Like, it's not about like what can we do. We got a kid right here that could be the next guy. What can we do to develop this kid to make sure that he's on the right path? So if you don't have the money and the resources to do it yourself, they're going to take you, they're going to use you up for whatever you are in the grassroots program. You may become something in high school, you may become something in college, and then when you get to the league, it's like, hey man, yeah, my trainers taught me this when I was younger, and this is what I kind of carried with me with a little bit of natural talent, and it doesn't equate to what they're doing in these European leagues, in these, I'm saying, these European countries where kids are being developed and playing professionally at 14, 15 years old.
I see, and I understand what you're saying, but that's this is the problem. I think that it's part of what you're saying, DP. We're so worried about globalizing the game that we are adapting to what the Europeans are doing and trying to adapt to their play style. When you look at the most prolific scorer of all time, we're talking about just averaging points per game. It's Michael Jordan, specialized in the mid range. You look at Kobe Bryant, specialized in the mid range. T Mac, mid range. Your most prolific scorer this year uh, was Shea Gilgis Alexander, specialized in the mid range. If we just play our regular brand of basketball, talking about the way that we're raising the children and specializing in mid range and going to the basket and using your athleticism, I still think we'll be on top. But you've got so many people trying to shoot the three ball now
Yeah.
that you've just opened the floodgates for the Europeans to come in because that's what they specialize in.
And you don't have
Yeah,
to play that way.
yeah,
Right.
exactly. You
Remember,
don't
now they're
have,
saying that the back to the basket center is dead. Like,
yeah,
no,
it
if
doesn't
even if
have
you're
to be.
7 feet, even if you're 7 feet, we want you to shoot three. Remember what we were talking about earlier? Like,
Yeah,
in what world are we calling a 6'9"? Like a 6'9" guy now is a small forward. Like back in the early 2000s, you know what I'm saying, the 80s, the early 2000s, or 90s, the early 2000s, that was a power forward. That might have been a center. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, hey man, he's a 6'10" three. Like, what are we, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And not to say like, and back then it used to be like, hey, that's a unicorn, right? A Magic Johnson. Hey man, he's 6'9", can handle the ball. A Lamar Odom, like that type of thing. Now it's like, no man, you have to come into the game with that skill set because it's the only way you can thrive. And it's what you guys said. We're adopting the European style. It's either layups or
yeah.
threes, no mid range. You know what I'm saying? No half court basketball. It's hey man, get down here, fast break. You got a 3-on-1. Everybody fight. You two get to the corner, and I'm gonna pull up from the top. And even if I miss, we don't even get the fucking rebound.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
long rebound the other way. Now, now they run it the other way, and now they jacking up a three. But I mean, like you look at Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook was elite, was averaging triple doubles, elite. And all of a sudden, someone said, man, he can't shoot, and threw brick on the back of his name. And now he's hesitating on shooting threes and looks like a shell of himself. Whereas
He was putting them up in the playoffs.
if he continued to just play with his reckless abandon, how he was playing his whole career, he's still effective.
Yeah. Hey, E. Gibson, that's a good observation right there about France.
And they
Um,
coming over and they're not really doing shit.
To-
All of them ain't even
Tony Parker over there trying to make it happen though. He got his hand in the pot.
in a
Cooking up
grassroots
some.
program in a grassroots in France.
Yeah, he over there trying to help them build their program up.
And that's what I'm saying. So that and it's how many of the old school NBA players are pouring back into the community and really trying to develop these guys?
Um, ooh, Olden Polynice. I mean, Olden Polynice was coaching at Washington High School. He was an assistant coach for Washington High School a couple years ago.
You know,
Hmm.
and I told you I've said it to multiple parents on multiple occasions. Even in the grassroots program, and I don't want to make this about grassroots. These coaches are selfish,
Oh yeah.
right? I could be a coach with 15 kids on my roster, and I can see this one kid that really stands out. He's the Ferrari parked, you know, under the little parking bay in the shack, right? This kid does not belong on this team. Instead of saying, you know what, there's a program that I can send you to where people of your talent level can actually help you kind of, develop your game, lift your game. I'm going to hold on to you. And I'm going to surround you with guys that ain't shit, but you can be my little Ferrari that I can pull up, you know what I'm saying? And boop, boop, every time I walk into my shack and we ain't got shit in the fridge. But it's like, hey man, I just pulled up in a Ferrari though. So it's like that's the grassroots program now. Like everybody's selfish. Everybody's trying to hold on to say like, hey man, 5-6 years from now, I'll say that I was the one that developed that kid. That was one of my kids. So there's no development in the game, man. So I see why the game is in a place that it is right now. I see why somebody like Anthony Edwards, who himself said that what did he say? He preferred football. Anthony Edwards didn't even want to fucking play basketball. He said he was just so good at it and it was so easy that it was just, I'll take this route as opposed to taking the football route where I have to get beat up, you know.
Well, I mean, I would say, Bong, to what you're saying, I don't know if there's like I don't know if
Easy
there's
fix.
well, no, I would say I don't know if there's no the development is different. They're developing players into what makes money in today's NBA, which is the shooting. So that's the stuff that they're focusing on. It's not just you know, the skills, the well, I mean they do skill work, but it's not a lot of like sets being run,
Yeah,
pick and rolls, know how to set people up, no cutting and all of that kind of stuff. Like,
glorified one on one.
yeah, it's like isolation ball
Yeah,
and get up some threes. So
he, 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 he being said reminds me. Oh,
yeah,
that
oh
was
man.
pertaining to you with the
Yeah,
Ferraris.
yeah,
I know. Six Corvettes parked around a little trailer. Yeah, man. So,
Sound like some meth was being used, man. But
man, being
but
dealt, being used.
yeah, that'll sound real good, man. That sound like some illegal activity was going on, man.
I mean, again, and what is it also done, DP? Is watered down the NBA, right? When you get the highlights, when somebody's having a good game, okay, when we chop it up and give you the highlights, it looks good. But what about the game where LaMelo goes 1 for 10 from three, and we can't talk about it, or like, and that's like a common theme where it's like, man, the game is like so not fun when the threes aren't falling. Everybody's darling right now, Caitlin
Mm.
Clark. Have y'all heard? Have y'all seen or heard? She's played since that big game where everybody was talking about, oh man, she's better than Steph Curry. She's played 3 games. Have you seen anything on Sports Center?
Mhm.
No, I think she had a 1 for 11 from 3 point game. Then she had a 0 for 9 from 3 point game. Then she had a 1 for 10 from 3 point game.
She
ESPN like, damn, we can't wait for the next little Caitlin Clark stimulus package.
she
But
she didn't turn into Ronda Rousey after that beatdown.
when they were saying that she could go out there and beat Floyd Mayweather,
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's good when it looks good and we can give you a highlight package and every guy on ESPN can salivate at the mouth about how Caitlin Clark is the best thing to happen since Tiger Woods.
Mm.
It sounds good, but we haven't heard her name, and the WNBA is the only thing going right now. We haven't heard her name in over a week. We haven't heard her name in over a week, and guess what? Because she hasn't been performing, we can hide. We have to hide it when the motherfucker ain't doing what when they ain't doing what we thought they're supposed to do. We have to hide it. But when we can package it up, she has one of her good games. Watch how everybody's gonna cover it, and all these motherfuckers every single outlet is gonna say, "Oh man, there goes the best shooter in that's ever played
Yeah,
basketball."
yeah. The media has a lot to do with what happens with the sport. I mean, that's why they partner with these networks because they are all in cahoots with how they want to present the product.
Yeah, yeah, and
WNBA, NBA, NFL, like,
yeah.
hey, and E Bean Gaming, you're correct. I think they went 1-3 in those last. Oh no, 1-2 in those last 3 games where she stunk the joint up in every single one of those games.
yeah,
The
Leah
one game
Boston
that
is
they
a
won,
hooper.
the one game that they won, Aaliyah Boston dropped 30,
Yeah, she's a hooper, man.
but she doesn't get any of the fanfare. She's been the steady Eddie the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Never high, never low. Just gonna give you a quiet 20 and 10. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, that's American basketball for us right now. Sorry, I had to go off on a tangent. And engineer, absolutely put her on the list. Caitlin Clark, she's always been on the list. Uh, my man Kevin Durant, I love his game, but he ain't been shit since Golden State. You know that. Who else is on the list?
I don't know, but he's got the list. Jalen Green's on his list.
oh, oh man. Okay, that's a good question. Al sucks in mock drafts. Who lost the first round? We came to a consensus while you weren't on, DP. that San Antonio won the first round.
Yeah,
If you want to rebut, we'll give you the floor.
That San Antonio won the first round for the draft.
the
Yeah.
draft. Yeah. Um,
Well, with
with Dylan Harper and Carter Bryant.
yeah, I
And
mean
what I
who else had two first round picks in
um
the draft?
I believe Charlotte did. Well, no, I don't think I'm not sure if Charlotte did. I know Utah
Brooklyn
did.
Did
had like five, right?
Brooklyn, yeah, Brooklyn did have five.
Brooklyn
Um,
used all five?
yep.
They didn't package any of them damn picks to move up.
Nah.
Fucking Brooklyn.
OKC had two.
Okay, Steve
Um,
still spending other niggas' money.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious. Hey, Sam Presti say I ain't spent none of my game checks since I got in the league.
absolutely.
Hey man,
Um,
I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it,
Yeah,
or we did.
OKC had two. Um, Pelicans had two.
He said Brooklyn had five picks and
Yeah,
made
Brooklyn
five bad
five.
picks.
Yeah.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yo,
Utah had two.
shit. Woo. Oh man. Damn.
Um,
I think that's it for the teams that had two. Yeah, for the teams that had two, yeah, that's it.
You're right, engineer.
I guess I would say mm, maybe I guess it'd be hard to disagree. Um,
Yeah.
those two guys fit well.
And what
Brian and Harper. But go ahead. You said what you said it was what?
I was saying that at first I was like, I don't know how Harper's gonna fit in, given they have Fox, given they have Castle, but they're losing Chris Paul. Chris Paul played an average of 28 minutes a game, so there's the minutes right there that he's gonna get. So knowing that, understanding that, like, okay, that fits, that's gonna make sense. And then with the Bryant situation, it's like I was saying San Antonio should get a small forward. First, I was saying Flag. Then I was saying Ace Bailey. Um, Carter Bryant's also a small forward. So I like what they did. So
Um,
that's why I go with them.
I'm a go a little different, KP, and I'll say I like what the Pelicans did because they got that sneak pick. Derek Queen was their second when that got traded to them from the Hawks,
Yeah, they got the
and
guard.
and then they got Fears.
Yeah, they got fears.
So, I mean, I like that duo.
The
I, if we just
Hey,
looking at rookies, I might even say that's a better.
the guards out of Auburn, they stayed.
um Auburn.
They
I'm
had
thinking
the
about
they had the
Alabama.
one they had the
Yeah,
one
you
guard
talking
that
about
was
Tahad Pettiford?
yeah. Pettiford stayed.
Pettiford went back, but the other one
But they
came
had
out.
another one, right? They had two guards. They're both
Um,
nice.
no, I keep thinking about Alabama. I'm sorry.
And,
No,
and, and
Auburn
KP,
had two.
Um, I would say to your point though, to go against you though is I like Fears, but Fears doesn't shoot the three ball well at 29%.
man, here you
So
go. You just had this spiel
I
about
did.
motherfuckers should go to the mid range game, and now
I
you
did say
knocking
that,
this
but they
kid.
but they're not going to the mid range game.
But you
So
just said SGA is not a 3-point shooter. He just led his team to
I
a championship.
but
But now
he
you knocking
plays.
this kid for not shooting threes.
No, DP. It's two totally different things. I'm saying SGA has mastered the mid range. That's what he goes to. He does that. So
Yes.
it doesn't matter how he shoots the three because he's going to score on the mid range. But I'm saying Fears, let's wait and see if Fears masters the mid range. Right
Yeah,
now,
say
he's not.
that. Say that. I'm saying
He
you
doesn't.
leading the first thing you lead with is threes. Like
But
if we're preaching, if we it's like double talking to me. I'm just saying. It's double talking to me if we preach, oh man, they shoot too many threes, but then we knocking the kid and say, oh, he don't shoot the three well. What does he do with the mid range? What do these kids have other than the three ball? Like their skills other than a three. Their skills other than shooting a three. I understand that that's what we're talking about. Okay, a lot of teams shoot the threes. Hey, niggas die by the three too. Ask Boston. Ask the Celtics. So I mean, if we talking about cultivating skills and all these other things, like I want to see what's the total package of all these pause, but what's the total uh skill set of all these guys, not just okay, threes. If a guy don't shoot the three well, is that's it. He's done. Like
What's
we
your
talking about.
what's your boy say? Niggas die every day, B.
Hey, real shit.
no, what I'm saying is that he's 6'3", so at 6'3", if he doesn't shoot the three, I want to see what else he's doing. I want to see if he's getting to the basket. I'd like to see the other stuff. I haven't seen it yet. All I see is that he can't shoot the three. That's what I'm saying. Right now, SGA, he can't shoot the three, but he's shown at 6'6" that he's getting to the mid range. He's getting to his spots. He's scoring.
KP,
So
in your marathon coverage of the draft, were you not speaking highly of Fears?
I did, but I'm not. I'm saying that this is. I'm saying that this isn't the best pickup. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that this one isn't better than San Antonio, and I'm giving these reasons why it's not better than San Antonio. So I'm talking about that with
It
Fears, and then I'll say with Derek Queen, um, I'm curious to see how he fits in with them because they've got Yves Missy at the center. Are they going to play him at the power forward? You've got Zion at the power forward. Curious to see how they play him.
is Dylan Harper a knockdown 3-point shooter?
No,
Okay. Are we leading with Dylan Harper can't shoot the three? So I'll say the same thing about him then. Like, I mean, you can pick all these players apart, but Dylan Harper went second, and he's a great pickup. Doesn't shoot the three well. That's a knock on him too, right? So what is he going to do? Is he going to be driving and shooting mid-range games, mid-range shots? They got other people clogging the lane for that. Carter Bryant, what is Carter Bryant doing? Is he shooting the three
well,
well?
I'll say this: Dylan Harper shot 48% from the field, and he's got better positional size at 6'6", and he's left-handed. Carter Bryant is coming into the league and coming to that team as a defender first.
Uh,
So,
Yes,
it,
and it's Carter Bryant. You have to figure out if Carter Bryant is a four or a three. And you were
but
just saying that. Is he quick enough to guard the threes on the wing? Is he big enough to guard the fours?
I
I
think
mean,
he
there's
is.
something what I'm
But
I'm saying is because there's something you could throw out about everything.
you
There's a
can, but
criticism you can throw out about everything.
you can. But what I will say with the Carter Bryant situation, even with Portland, is the plethora of wings that they have that he can fit in with. They got Sohan, they got Chimpagni, they got Keldon Johnson. You add him to the mix. They got Harrison Barnes, but I think Harrison Barnes at 33 is going to be older, and I think he's going to get pushed out of the loop, squeezed out. But given those forwards that they already have, you plug Carter Bryant in, I think that he complements what they have. I think that at the guards, Dylan Harper complements what they have. When you talk about the Pelicans, I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to use Queen
They
because
they're gonna use them
I know they're going to
because
use it.
they
But
because
I'm saying,
they and they're gonna use fears too. You just shipped
no, no,
out.
I know, but I'm saying Queen right now. I'm just saying Queen. I'm saying how they're going to use Queen. Are they going to go center with Queen? You got Yves Missy. Are you going to go center power forward, run the two bigs like they did in Maryland? You got Zion. Are you gonna go him and Zion together?
Yeah,
I, I'm just curious to
you
know
you gonna do a
because
little bit
Kareem
of you
isn't a
gonna
he's a heck of a rebounder, he's a heck of a player, but he's not a good defender or rim protector.
you're gonna do a little bit of all of that. And if you're saying that and know he's not a rim protector and all of that, that's not what they're drafting him for. They're not drafting him to be a defender and a rim protector. And San Antonio is the easiest one to point out because they already have uh certain spots sewn up. They're already established. They're further along in the game. So yeah, all they need to do is pick a dude who could plug here, plug there. I mean, it was good to what I'm saying is it was gonna be hard for San Antonio to blow this draft. They could have picked a couple other people and you would probably still be saying, man, San Antonio, just because of what they already have. The Pelicans are in rebuild mode. Like, even though they got Zion, you see they already shipping people out. You know, they got rid of McCullum.
Hmm.
And then even before that, um, got rid of who I thought uh was the best player in Brandon Ingram.
Yeah.
So they
Um,
already showed you like, man, we breaking this apart, you know. So I mean, I guess I'm not mad at the Spurs, right? I'm just
mhm.
looking for, you know, to not be the third guy saying, yeah, okay, the Spurs. I'm looking for somebody else who I think, you know, made some cool moves for the look of their squad right now.
Yeah, McCullum went
I-
to Washington
and I
with
want
Right.
to
And they got Poole in return, but they need more.
and I want to
Pelicans, they
say
need more.
something to E. Gibson. E. Gibson said he thinks that Utah drafting Bailey and Clayton Jr. is probably second to him after San Antonio. Um, I actually don't like those draft picks for Utah. Um, and I said it on air during the live, and I had time to think about it, process it. Still don't like it. Um, I won't talk about Ace Bailey. I'll go into Walter Clayton Jr. and kind of explain why I didn't like that. You bring in Walter Clayton Jr. Is he a one? Is he a two? Well, if he's a two, you have Jordan Clarkson, who was playing 26 minutes a game. You have Keontae George, who was playing 31 minutes a game. If he's a one, you got Colin Sexton, that was playing 28 minutes a game.
Jordan Clarkson will be gone.
You have Isaiah Collier, who's playing 26 minutes a game. So before I can say that that's a good trade, I want to see what else they're doing to the squad for it to make sense.
Jordan Clarkson's gonna get traded somewhere.
Because no, I hear you. I'm just saying, but right now it's like you just you ain't got no minutes. So I
Yeah.
want to see what you're gonna do. And then with um with Ace Bailey, I talked about they drafted Cody Williams, same position, same size, same kind of body type. You draft him. You drafted Bryce Sensabaugh the year before, who's also a forward. You made a trade for John Collins, who you were playing at the forward. John Collins got hurt, but he's coming back from injury. You still have John Collins, and you're playing him at the three because at the four you're playing Laurie Markkinen. So just I'm trying to see how that works out with the Utah Jazz, and I'm looking and I'm saying, man, are you giving your players one? Are you giving your lottery picks 1 year? If you don't show something in 1 year, we're taking another guy at your position, and I'm wondering where they're going with this because it seems like all signs were pointing that Utah has been trying to get to AJ DeBansta, who's going to come out next year, who's also going to be the same position as Ace Bailey.
All right,
So
childish
Utah's been
Gambino.
Utah.
All right,
Utah
childish Gambino. Because of the internet, your internet is even like, come on, man.
yeah,
You starting to get blurry on
got
us.
shaky.
uh,
You got shaky on us.
uh,
And I think Utah's been trying to position themselves to get a litany of stars, and they
Huh.
strike out every year. So, um, we'll see what happens
What
with AJ. Uh, that'll be. I mean, he's going to BYU. We would think that they're trying to set him up to get to maybe set him up to get to Utah,
They
or
are.
or maybe it's just one of those Nike feeder schools, and I would assume he's a Nike athlete.
Yes,
Okay, so I mean, we'll see.
Utah is gonna trade some people. KP, do you not think that they have way too many guards,
I would like
guards and
to.
wings,
I would like to believe that.
wings and things?
I,
Call Utah wings and things,
I would like to
Wings and
believe
things.
that.
Wangs and
wangs and
things.
things.
Well, not in Utah.
Right.
Not in Utah. It's definitely wings and things.
I like to believe that, but I'm gonna take a wait and see approach.
Okay. I mean, as far as the forwards, um, I would say it's not. It's kind of got a OKC feel. With the guys we were talking about, they rotated in. Whoever was hot, like a Wiggins.
Yeah,
Wallace was more so of a mainstay, but throwing those guys, Joe, throwing those guys
yeah,
in there and just kind of seeing who's got the hot hand, who's affecting the game better, plus minus or whatever. If you're a real stat guy like Kevin Fitzpatrick, but I would say that's not totally bad thing. But when you
mhm,
do break it down like you just did, as far as like having Collins and having marketing, even though they play differently, their styles are completely different. They're playing the same position, so it's like what style are you going with? Like, are you trying to have a post presence down low, somebody who's banging down low, pause, and getting rebounds and stuff like that? Are you trying to stretch the floor, shoot the ball with marketing? Like, which way are you going to go? You got to make a decision on your playing style, I would say, and then that would be, these are the guys we're going to keep, and then
yeah,
we'll look to the future to get this guy, that guy, or whatever. But Utah is just kind of like, get him. Oh, we like him. Get him. Okay, get him. Like, they got enough picks to do the shit, So I
They're
don't know.
not. They're not drafting based on need.
No,
They're
they need
drafting.
everything. Like, bless you.
They're drafting
thank you.
based on talent. But
Yeah, exactly. And I think I said that to KP during the draft. Like, they're just drafting the best. Even
Yeah,
I said, even drafting for
it's,
other people. Like, who could we get? And if he doesn't work for us, we know he's still got some value, and he'll be young enough because he's going to play 1 or 2 years, and someone will say, hey, we can still develop that guy, and then we can get some more picks for him. Oh, you want
you,
this guy? Give us your first round for the next 2 years or some shit like that. Like, Utah is a
Utah
draft capital
do,
focused squad.
doing the grassroots program at
Right.
Utah.
Right.
and Al sucks in mock draft. I think he's the one that said something about Brooklyn.
Yeah,
He didn't like what Brooklyn did, right? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I wouldn't fill in him either. Uh, the first three picks were guards. I mean Igor Denham.
And KP, before you move on too, I was gonna say
Uh,
also, with you got to think, I may have even liked the first uh pick, or the first set of players that the Pelicans could, because if the Pelicans, they traded with the Hawks. The
yeah,
Hawks ended up getting Asa Newell.
yeah.
Let's say the Pelicans would have just drafted him and didn't mess around with the Hawks trading that pick. They could have gone and gotten Fears and Newell. That would have been a cool rookie duo to come
I would
away
have.
with
I
out of
would
the
have.
draft.
I actually would have liked that one better.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
I
Like,
would
if
have
you
liked
had
that
not
one.
made that trade,
Well, I'm
because
saying I like that better than the duel that they got.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm saying that now. If you had not made that trade, look at what you would have had. That's a cool duo to walk away with out of this draft, out of the pool of players. I guess what I'm also looking at too, I may be looking at it differently. So let me say this. I know you're looking for uh fit KP fit for the squad, and
Yeah.
I may also be looking at just the talent of the player, like
Okay.
who got the most talented players,
That no, that's fair.
and
That's
and
fair. I
that's
am looking at
you
it like
know because I mean a lot of these teams, and you made a statement um earlier where you said, I forgot who asked you the question, but you were like, hey, I'll tell you who will be the best, who has the shot at rookie of the year is going to be somebody who goes to a horrible franchise, right?
that.
And
Yeah.
I mean, you got there's only a few teams that are really in the mix. Like, look at who we talking about: the Pelicans and Wizards in Utah. Like, come on, are they contenders? Like, they got a lot to do. So that's kind of why I don't know,
You know how
looking
we
at it
say
that way.
you know how we say there's certain teams that are always the brides, and you have the bridesmaids.
Yeah.
They're the flower girls. Utah Jazz, the Pelicans, the
The ring bearer
the
who left his
ring
shit
bearer.
at the crib.
The Junior
Exactly.
Bride.
Right. So,
Tap in his
look,
pocket.
look, patting
Yeah.
his pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I done fucked around and damn. Shit, here, take mine. That's the draft and develop.
Right.
Like, here, take mine.
Oh shit.
I got a ring you can use. Like, come on, man. It's a cold hearted business, man. But I don't know if Utah I don't know if Utah is. Do you see them being a contender in the next 10 years?
I
Ooh,
I don't know. I don't know.
that's
I don't
tough.
know.
10 years, I don't know.
I mean, look
Yeah.
at some of the guys some of the teams we're talking about. New Orleans. Do you see them contending in the next 10 years? They had a squad
I
that should
think
have been able to contend.
I think it might be easier for me if you say 5 years.
I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
But
Hey, man,
you're gonna have a whole new team in 10 years. They may not have
well,
any of these
that's what
guys.
I'm saying. I'm asking you, can they compete? So, okay, even in 5 years, shorten that number. If you think they can compete, if you don't want to look at the outlook over 10 years, over the next 5 years, can any of these middling or bottom of the pack franchises compete? Now, keep in mind, Detroit was once a middling bottom of
Yes,
the pack
yes, one of my
franchise that has
past.
turned it around. The New York
Hmm.
Knicks were a bottom of the pack franchise that turned it around. So there's ways that they can compete, but I also think that those are still two markets where the NBA needs those markets to do well.
Hmm.
You need Detroit to be a good basketball team. You need the Knicks to be a good basketball team. You don't necessarily need Utah to be good.
No.
Right. Yeah. And
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like,
So to answer your question, Bong, you said, can any of these bottom feeders turn into a good team in 5 years? The San Antonio Spurs, they can.
come on.
They've been at the bottom, and they've been at the bottom for the past few
They've
years,
been at the bottom
probably the
as
last 5 years.
they've been at the bottom as Greg Popovich has transitioned
Yeah, I was gonna
out
say
of
yeah.
coaching.
They were
But
kind of going through some internal things
yeah,
with
who knows how long he's been
yeah.
sick
Yeah.
and
Yeah, but
just
they
toughing it out. Hold on, okay. But they had the last two rookies of the year. They're stacking assets.
Oh yeah, that's why I say the Spurs are the easiest ones to say, like, yeah, look out for the Spurs.
Yeah,
Man,
they're stacking
KP, you was trying to send everybody to the Spurs, man.
absolutely. You said
The
Flag was
fuck?
going to the Spurs.
I did.
So again, they've been stacking assets. You have the last two reigning rookies of the year, right? And then you couple them um, with what's your boy De'Aaron Fox, and you bring in uh, a Dylan Harper. And before he got on DP, they interviewed Dylan Harper and they asked him like, how does he see, you know what I'm saying, him being able to acclimate in that Spurs system? And he said that like OKC.
Second unit.
Like, nah, hell nah. He said, now keep in mind, second pick of the draft. So I'm not cut. Listen, this is his words, not mine. He said that he expects them to employ a three guard rotation where there are three guards on the floor at all times. So similar to OKC, where you have, and I think he said he used SGA, J Dub, Caruso. I'm not sure who he mentioned another name. I don't know if it was Dort or whoever it is, but he said, "Hey, listen, man, we can run out there with a three guard lineup." So now you have your boy.
Where is he going to flourish though? Is what I'm saying.
I don't think he cares right now. I think right now he just wants to be a part of a franchise that can compete.
He's
No, for
been
sure. But is he gonna? I think he flourishes in when you rest your main guy, your starters. He can be a starter. You can roll him out as a starter in a three guard rotation, and then let's say you go with who's your guy, KP, your main
oh
star for.
Wembanyama.
Okay, not to be confused with Wimbenyama. Um, you roll him out. Who would be your fifth with that three guard set? You got Castle,
Mm,
Fox, Harper,
I don't think he's gonna.
Wimbenyama.
I don't think he's gonna start.
So that's what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
even if he does, I say you could roll him out. If you want to say, oh, he's our second guy, you roll him out in the three guard lineup. Cool.
I think he's the sixth man.
What I just
Yeah,
second unit.
no, I know.
Right,
I'm agreeing with you.
and
I'm agreeing.
I'm saying when it shifts to a change of pace and somebody controlling the game in a change of pace, he could absolutely do that. Like Castle has developed enough to where he's not taking Castle's spot. Like Castle's in there.
Yeah,
So, I don't know. I think it's a good pick. It's just it'll come down to coaching strategy for that one.
and Bong, you talked about San Antonio. They haven't had a winning season in 6 years. So the last 6 years they've lost. So I know that we're saying it's the easy one to pick, but they haven't been winners in quite some time.
Right, and the
But
NBA
I
has
say in the
and
next 5 years,
the NBA has rewarded them. Um, the NBA has rewarded them. The only thing the NBA could have done more for San Antonio was to give them the number one pick, but they had already promised it to Dallas.
All
So I
right,
mean,
engineer.
you know,
I trust
hey,
you,
listen, man.
engineer.
When a
So I'll
motherfucker,
trust the
hey,
process.
when a motherfucker says trust the process, run the
Hmm.
other way, man. It never works.
And I saw Bean Gaming
Hey,
uh, uh he answered Scotty Boy. So Scotty Boy did ask about why the Pelicans traded for Poole when they have DeJounte Murray. And
yeah,
yeah, he did tear his Achilles. So which Poole isn't, he doesn't have the same skill set Murray does. I actually like Murray's game more, but I think Poole will show you more than he did in Washington. Now that he's going over to the Pelicans, so we'll see.
hey,
Um,
yeah, but hey, listen, motherfucker tell you trust the process, man. Run the other way. Remember they used to have a saying well, my pops used to tell me all the time, motherfucker say he can make you rich overnight, man. Run the other way. That shit ain't. That shit is bullshit. Same thing. Motherfucker tell you trust the process, man. Run the other way.
oh
In the
shit!
Discord.
Hey,
Go ahead.
Bong,
Yeah.
like your pops ran the other way when he was in the post office, and I was trying to get him to open the door.
CDP saw trouble coming a mile away. Say, get me the fuck out.
hey, pops looked at me like,
Hey, he like, man,
I'm
why the
like,
fuck does
hey,
this
I just
motherfucker
sent
know
the
my
letter.
name?
He turned his back on me.
oh no,
This motherfucker calling my name, man. Get me out of here. What the fuck is
Oh
going on?
shit. Oh,
But
that was so classic. That shit was
I,
funny.
I,
I
I
will never
posted it.
forget that shit.
I posted a link in the Discord about the collusion case with the NFL, and in
Hmm.
that case that's being discussed, the NFLPA executive, no, he wasn't the executive director, but he was the president of the NFLPA, told the players to trust the process, and then began to hmm, stick it to him. I'll say it like that. But
Trust the
whenever
process,
mother,
and then he proceeded
yeah, exactly.
to
You know, but it is what it is. Anyway, man, we coming up on 2 hours, man. I thought we were going to get a moment to kind of talk about the Kobe Bryant and the Shaquille O'Neal and that discourse that's been it's kind of been floating around in different NBA circles. And you know, you have a section of the public that feels like there are some NBA players who are trying to discredit Kobe and his legacy, right? Um, and the funny thing is, T Mac kind of was in the middle of this, right? T Mac, who in years past spoke glowingly of Kobe, but deep down, I think there is something that not having not having a not having a ring never just didn't sit well with him, and I think in his heart of hearts, how he truly feels is starting to come out now, right? Like, hey man, I was tough, I was nice, you know. Kobe had Shaq. You know, if you would have put me with Shaq, I could have done I could have done a lot
but the
of
thing
things.
about that is T Mac don't have to say it because everybody else says that for him. Like
Well,
his peers say it.
right. So then there was some discourse, or so I guess that's when I think that was Gills, whatever it's called, Gills Arena. They started talking about it and started saying like, "Hey man, in 2002, there was real conversation going on about who was better, T Mac or Kobe, right?"
And who did
And
they say on the panel on Gil's Arena?
they never really said. They just said that there were conversations being had about who's better. They never really said. They never really put their, again, they're still trying to sell tickets. They're still trying to get views. So you're never
It,
going to get a true
it,
answer. They're just
it
going to muddy
almost,
the water.
but I'm gonna say it almost sound like Gilbert was trying to say T Mac.
Correct. It sounded like, but he never said it.
No, he didn't. But when he said, "Man, this guy's getting triple team. He ain't got nobody to pass to, and he's still getting you 32 a night." It's like, in so many words, he was saying T
Is
Mac.
it? But okay, and I hear
And
everything.
I do remember that time frame, and I do remember that argument. And me being a Laker fan, and Kobe being my favorite player at the time, I remember thinking, I don't know who's better. And I remember John Thompson had the interview, and John Thompson answered the question and said, "You know what? Turn the lights off, and whoever I pick,
And
that's
turn off the
I'll
lights.
be happy with whoever I pick."
And
And
that's all I'm saying too. Like, what's wrong? Like sometimes, and I get what you're saying, Bong, because people are like going down those um alleys, I'll call it, and start taking those positions about T Mac versus Kobe, or T Mac jumping in on the I'm better than Kobe, whatever the case may be. But I don't I don't think it's a, like I was saying earlier during the draft coverage. I don't think it's necessarily a knock on Kobe, or it doesn't have to be a knock on Kobe. Why does it have to be a knock on Kobe to say, "Hey man, if you pair T Mac, he would have got them chips too." If Penny Hardaway would have stayed with Shaq and they would have played together for a few more years, they would have got one. You already saw Shaq win one with Dwayne Wade, and he was not even in his prime at that point. Like Shaq was the force. Like the other guys were second to Shaq.
I think it. if it,
They
I'm gonna
weren't second to Shaq. They
no, no,
were.
no, it does. But
Everybody, every one of those guards in Shaq prime when he played, including Kobe, was second to Shaq.
so me as a Laker fan, as a Kobe fan, I feel like it's a knock on Kobe when you don't acknowledge that he won after Shaq left.
But that's not what we're talking about
I
though.
I
And I and
know,
I,
but
I agree with you.
because because
If
I'm
you don't bring that up and talk about that, that
because
ain't the
I'm
question though.
no, I know, but I'm saying all the people talk about if there was another two guard, if they played with Shaq, they would have won. But then my question would be, would you have won after Shaq left and you had that Laker team and then you got those pieces?
But
Would
you're
you take
but
them
you're
to a championship then as Kobe did?
yeah, that's the argument for, so that's arguing two things. That's arguing about Kobe's legacy.
Yeah,
And I'm saying, what I'm saying to you is, to speak on Shaq and speak on Shaq's dominance is not a shot to Kobe's legacy. Because even if you take T Mac and put him in Kobe's position, T Mac, guess what? You're number two. Anybody else in the league
So
at that point is a number two. That's all I'm saying. They're not number one. You're not coming over and leading the charge. You're not doing nothing more or nothing better than what Kobe did. So that's
so
not saying the other guard is better than Kobe.
D Wade did not average 40 in the NBA Finals.
What are you saying?
So I think
Vincent.
Vincent is saying that.
Vincent.
Um,
I thought you were saying something to me. I'm like, what?
yeah, but to what Vincent is saying, D Wade did carry Shaq in when Shaq went to Miami, right?
I just said in his prime though.
Yeah,
I don't think
And
that was his prime.
that wasn't his prime.
when who was in his prime?
Shaq.
That wasn't Shaq's
That
Okay,
prime.
wasn't his prime.
but you mentioned that he was able to go to
And,
Miami and
and I said that wasn't his prime. I
okay.
said he did it with Wade, but that
And
wasn't his prime.
and since we're playing revisionist history and ifs and buts, whatever we want to do, I'll tell you that if Shaq would have played his position and done two things, stayed in shape and took on a secondary role where Kobe took the lead, he may have finished his career with 4 to 5 more championships. Now, you got to remember the beautiful thing about
And that
Kobe.
in itself
Hold on.
is another argument as well.
The,
That's a
the, the beautiful
totally different thing.
the beautiful thing about Kobe, and this will never get discussed. Nobody ever wants to bring this up. Kobe Bryant won those last 2 championships. He was not in his prime. Kobe Bryant was not in his prime when he won those last 2 championships with the Lakers. The Lakers wasted his prime after Shaq left. The years that he had where he was there, I mean, remember the first round exit against Phoenix where they took him to game 7 as an 8 seed?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they wasted his prime when Kobe was scoring, averaging 35 a game, 35 leading the league in scoring. Like they wasted his prime. That Kobe was on the back end of his career when he went to 3 finals and won 2 championships with not another top 50 or 75 player on his roster. So again, you're telling me that Shaq carried Kobe. That may have been Shaq carried Kobe for their first championship, but by championships number 2 and 3, Kobe was vying to get the Lakers over the hump.
He was, and he was still a number two.
The Indiana Finals, was that the second championship?
That was the first one.
That was the first one where Shaq
Shaq
fouls out
fouls
the
out.
game, and that was Kobe's. Hey man, welcome to the league. He's the next guy moment, right? So I think a lot of people get lost in the, oh man, Shaq could have took. Why didn't Shaq win a championship with Penny?
Because they didn't stay together long enough. They broke that shit up too
But
early.
why? But why? Why didn't Shaq
I don't
stay?
know why they broke it up too early. He left though, but
Shaq
you're
went.
asking why.
Shaq left.
But
Shaq
you're
left.
asking why he left.
Shaq left for the money.
Okay, okay, so you have
Okay.
the answer. So it was a
Shaq,
rhetorical question for you. He
Shaq
left for the
left for the
money
money.
then.
Shaq
Okay.
left for the money, and that is example number one, or exhibit A for the courtroom. That
For what
Shaq
case
wasn't
though?
that Shaq was never truly dedicated to
Okay,
the
so
sport.
so Bong.
So hear me out.
No,
Hear me
no, no.
out.
Let me say something to that point before you continue. That's also something that you could say for Shaq. If he wasn't even dedicated, in your opinion, to the sport like he should have been, and was still that dominant.
But hear me out. You didn't
Like
let me.
that's crazy.
You took the first part of what I was going to say, or what I said, and ran with it. But the fact that Shaq wasn't dedicated to the sport is likely why he couldn't win with Penny. You needed
Nah,
No,
someone.
man. No.
Let me finish. I know y'all want to poke holes in my
no.
argument.
Okay.
Let me finish what I have to say. Kobe Bryant, if you're telling me that Penny Hardaway or T Mac had the mentality or had the will, right, the mental fortitude of a Kobe Bryant, I'll call bullshit on both of them. Neither of them did.
But who
And
said
was,
that?
but
Who said that?
but that's the difference. If you're playing with
Who is
a,
saying that? That's what I'm
what I'm
asking.
telling, no, I'm not. I don't care. I don't know if who's saying it or who's not
But you're
saying it.
bringing it
I,
up, so I'm saying that's not even the
I'm bringing
thing.
it up because that's my argument for what made Shaq play to his potential. Right? You're not a Penny Hardaway is not because Shaq.
Did he play to his
Just let
potential?
me finish saying what I gotta say. I don't believe a Penny Hardaway brings the best out of Shaq because Shaq is not worried about Penny Hardaway being on his heels. Shaq always had to fight for his role, his acceptance as the best player in the Lakers. Even when he finally got traded, what was it about? We had a choice. We can keep Shaq or we
Bong.
can keep. Listen to what I'm saying.
But you're gonna go and keep adding points. Can I ask you a question about what you just said?
Yes, go ahead.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Yes,
I'm not trying to
absolutely.
stop you. I just want to ask you on the point that you just made. Are you saying that Kobe was on Shaq's heels when Shaq first got traded to the Lakers?
No, no,
So that didn't happen until later on
no.
in
It
in
happened.
their
It happened quickly. It
later on
happened.
in their with them being together. I'm saying Shaq didn't. I don't know if it was Kobe pushing him in the
And
beginning. It was
but
Shaq was clearly the leader.
Shaq was clearly the leader, but I think that even in the beginning, from the beginning, he saw what Kobe was. If you go back and listen to any of these interviews, and people, there's a lot of back and forth about whether Shaq was being tongue in cheek, whether Shaq really meant what he was saying, or whether he was taking slight digs at Kobe when he would say it. Oh man, this is the greatest ever. Da da da. This isn't like '01. That's a Kobe that's like, bruh, I don't give a. Kobe would. Shaq was trying to fight Kobe in practices because Kobe was telling him to get his fat ass in shape. Penny Hardaway would never. He would never challenge Shaq like that.
And
Kobe Bryant was
they
saying,
had already made it to a finals. That's what I'm saying. Who knows? Who
what I'm
knows
telling
what would have the same
what
way you said if Shaq would have done this and been second to Kobe, they would have won more championships. Who knows what him and Penny would have done if they would have stayed together? They had already made it to the finals.
So
That's
so
I
all I'm
appreciate
saying.
Dime Dropper for
so
that
Dime
comment.
Dropper, yeah, just said something as well. He said this is interchangeable. I compare a prime Hakeem with prime Kobe that Shaq played, and they win without Shaq, and they still win 3 championships.
And I'm not disagreeing with that, considering who Hakeem won it with, right? But that's what I'm saying. I know you, Bong, and UKP, y'all are Laker fans. So I can't speak on how y'all are taking it, right? What I think a lot of a lot of the fans are doing though is they look at it as automatically a shot on Kobe's legacy, automatically. So the same way Dime Dropper is saying it's interchangeable right now, he's just giving you, okay, well, I could take Kobe and put him with Hakeem. Is that a shot at Hakeem's legacy?
No, but
So what are we doing?
but
It's
I'm gonna,
what it is because there was this tug of war like Bong, what Bong is speaking to. It was already a tug of war between a Shaq and a Kobe. So people
How,
are
how,
playing on that part of it.
how about I take it one step further to tell you where I stand with this shit, so we can cut all the bullshit. If you put Kobe Bryant with Yao Ming, he wins the championship.
yeah.
So why
Fucking right, he does.
so why do you have a
If you
problem with
take, if you
somebody
take,
saying
if you
why?
take, hold on, because the
Okay.
question is T Mac. Everybody talking about T Mac and how you could have put him with Shaq and he would have won the same three
But
championships Shaq won with Kobe. Fuck no. And I tell you, if you would have put Kobe with Yao Ming, Kobe Bryant would have walked out of Houston with multiple championships with Yao Ming. T Mac
So
won zero.
I didn't
T
say
Mac never
just
got out of the. He was so
okay. I'll
good.
let you finish. So
T Mac was so good that all he needed was Shaq, and he didn't have Shaq. That this motherfucker never made it out the first round of the playoffs.
so I'll say this, Bong. I'm gonna go slightly in a different direction. And DP, the reason that I feel like it's a shot on Kobe's legacy when people say it is because I'll rewind back to when Shaq got traded to Miami and the Lakers went through their dog days and Kobe was losing in the first round. That's when a lot of this was starting. Like, oh, he's like Penny Hardaway. He can't win without a big. That's when people started talking about it. So when I'm hearing this now, that's what this reminds me of. And then when Kobe went on,
that's kind of what I just said too.
yeah, and then when Kobe went on to win two, then everyone got quiet and it's like no one's saying anything. But then they go back to saying, "Well, if I had Shaq, I would
Right?
have won. I would have won
Hey,
three in a row."
and
But
Dime Dropper is dropping, still dropping.
I'm just saying more so like, okay, but would you have won without Shaq? Would you have recovered the way that Kobe recovered after Shaq left and still took the Laker franchise to three championships, winning two? Could these players have done that? That's
With
all I say.
Hey,
Maybe
listen,
not.
KP.
Question, KP. Oh, go ahead, Bong.
I was about to say KP. I was just going to add something to it. With zero top 75 players on your roster, you won championships with Sasha Vujacic, Ratmanovich, Andrew Bynum. Shit, you could name them. We had a
Al
couple guys.
Gasol, Lamar Odom,
Those
Trevor
those were
Ariza
your
1 year, Ron Artest
test
another
the
year.
next. Like you were doing it with ragtag dudes, and what I'm saying is,
Well, I'm not
if you
calling them ragtag.
no, I'm saying I'm not talking about Gasol being a ragtag guy, but I'm talking about like dude,
Odom either.
Odom.
He's talking about
What?
Vujacic.
No, he
I,
said Odom.
Oh,
No, Odom. Odom.
nah, Odom was a big
sir,
part of it. His
Odom.
versatility.
Listen, man, I don't give a damn what Odom did back then. I know Odom who OD'd at the Bunny Ranch and all
Come
the
Nah,
on,
other
man.
shit.
man.
Nah,
That has
Uh,
nothing.
I ain't doing
it's
all that.
no,
Bond.
no. I
Bond,
don't
that
tell.
has nothing to do
What are
with
you
what
doing?
he
You
did
don't
on
have to
the
do
court.
shit. I'm telling you the facts. We can go
That has
look up
nothing
the
to do with
facts,
what he
bro.
did on the court, though.
Man, I don't know
What
what.
you mean?
Hey, listen, he might. Odom was
What
more
what am
Rodman.
I
That
what
I
am
know all the other shit
what
he
am
was
I
doing
doing
behind
is
the
talking
scenes.
about Odom as a hooper, and I'm
Yeah, we
saying
just talk
Odom
about
had
Odom as a
game.
player
That's
on
what
the
I'm
court.
doing.
And,
If we
and,
want
and
to, as you said a minute ago, if we want to get past the bullshit, and I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm talking about Odom as a hooper.
hey,
Odom had game.
yes, he
Anybody
did.
talking that shit about Odom like he didn't have game,
I didn't say he didn't
that
have game.
or
I
or,
said,
or questioning it like, when you mention him,
nah,
Odom was a big part of the Lakers squad. You're a Lakers fan.
because
And,
check this
and
out.
and and it's as you would like to tell
Because
people, it's blasphemous for you to
because
sit up here and question whether do that
no,
when
hell
somebody
no,
brings up Odom.
no,
But what I was gonna say to
no,
you, KP,
no.
what I was
Uh-huh.
gonna say to you, KP, when you were talking about the question about can Kobe do it afterwards, can the players do the same thing that Kobe did afterwards? I'm not sure. I'll ask you the question, which was the original question. If you put some of those top tier guards with Shaq, do you think they could also win a championship?
I said I believe that some of them could. Yeah.
Okay, so why is that? So the answer is
But,
yes.
but again, the reason I said that is because that started to come about after Shaq left and Kobe didn't have that same success.
You
Wh-
you guys are speaking on the struggles in the
Hey,
comparison
hey,
between Shaq and Kobe. And I get it. As Laker fans, that's what I'm saying.
Not
What
just
I'm saying, but or as a fan of
not
basketball,
just no.
whatever,
I mean,
whatever.
because no, because the same thing happened to Penny Hardaway, and they're like, oh, and they started comparing Kobe to Penny
And
because Penny didn't have success, and they're like, it's all over for Kobe. His best days are behind him. That's all I'm
but
saying.
right,
so,
but it keeps going to Kobe, right?
so
I'm asking you to separate.
before we get too
All
far,
right, hold on,
can I?
hold on.
No. Before we get too far, let me just mention what I had to say about Lamar Odom because I think like it's being said like I took a shot at Lamar Odom.
EB
Lamar,
Gamer said, put some respect on his name. Some
no.
respect.
Check this out. EB and Gaming. I I'm talking about Lamar Odom because do you remember what happened when he initially got traded from the Lakers? It was the end of his career. He couldn't handle it emotionally.
He didn't want to report.
So again, but that was, and then we saw what happened later on down the line. What I'm saying is, I think Kobe quietly, internally kept things together with Lamar Odom, who, when not with Kobe, eventually flew off the handle and it was the end of his career. Lamar Odom still had a lot of basketball in him, but he couldn't handle it emotionally, right? So when I talk about everybody saying like, "Oh yeah, Lamar Odom was a big part," but I think Kobe Bryant quietly, internally did a lot to keep Lamar Odom on track, so you can see the player that he was when he was with the Lakers.
But Bong, that's what a leader will do.
Correct.
Keep him on track mentally, but he still had to perform. And
Correct. Yes.
we're just
Yes.
saying that Lamar Odom was a big
My
part
bad, y'all.
because no problem. We're saying Lamar Odom's a big part.
No, I know,
It's-
KP. I'm not denying that. I'm saying that Lamar Odom was kept on, and again, it all goes back to what a lot of the things that Kobe doesn't get credit for. And I really don't want to go. I wanted to touch on a couple of the comments that were being, especially Dime Dropper, and then I think E. Gibson had one. I think Dime Dropper was talking about people got to remember McGrady has zero all defensive teams, right? That's why Wade and Kobe had success with Shaq. They were two-way players. Um, and I believe E. Gibson said McGrady, and this was my biggest point. This was what E. Gibson is saying right now was my biggest and only point about this whole argument about, oh, everybody could have won with Shaq. McGrady had the skill set and the talent, not the work ethic or the heart when it was on the line, in my opinion. And that's what I kept. That's the only thing I said from earlier when I was texting in the chat to what I'm trying to tell you guys now. The difference between Kobe and McGrady, the difference between Kobe and Penny was that Kobe Bryant, and it's documented, didn't give a fuck. I don't care if you're Shaq and you're supposed to be the most dominant person on earth. Motherfucker, you're out of shape. And I'm gonna call you out about that shit. I don't
It's
give a fuck who you
it's
think.
not supposed to be.
But what I'm saying
You
is,
are the most.
do you think do you think that McGrady, do you think that a Penny, knowing that they're second tier to Shaquille O'Neal, have the nuts to step to him and say, hey man, we can't win unless you do X, Y, and Z?
I don't. So let me say this.
But
I
they
don't know.
did win without him doing X, Y, and Z. You just
I
said he
don't.
wasn't in shape and he didn't play up to the top level of what he could have, and he still won.
I don't know if McGrady is as vocal as I don't know if he would be as vocal as Kobe in that sense, but I still think that they could have won with McGrady with Shaq because what the Lakers had and the way that the team was constructed, they were just that good all across the board. And Shaq was just that dominant. So now you put McGrady in a situation where he's not getting double teamed. He's not getting double teamed. He's cooking.
And that's all I was saying. Just speak on it separately of Kobe's legacy. Is not I get what y'all saying about Kobe's legacy. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying separate from that, you could take some other guards, put them on the team with Shaq, and they could get a dub. They could get a
Oh,
ring. I don't know if they would have been as potent as Kobe and Shaq. I'm not saying that, but I think some other guards could have won with him.
my
Just
bad, bro.
just like Hakeem could have won with Kobe, which was
E-
the flip side of I forgot who made that point earlier.
It was EB Gaming.
Yeah, even
EB
Gaines.
Gaming said Tracy always hurt too. Has them tiny ankles. Oh my God, we call it a man tiny ankles. You gotta chill, bro.
Again,
He was one of my
like
favorite players back in the day, but he wasn't Kobe.
again, hey, it
So,
is
so
it is what I you know. All I know is I know the real because I lived through Kobe Bryant winning 5 championships, going to 7 finals. Four of them with Shaq, three of them without Shaq. But apparently, if uh, Penny would have held on to Shaq for a couple, or got him to hold, got Shaq to want to stay in Orlando to come play with him, even though apparently Shaq held going to LA and being a rapper and being able to rap with the Fushnikins in higher regard than playing and winning a championship with Penny, he would have got some. One or some or
Yeah,
whatever. And
okay, I
if
don't
T
know what's
Mac would have found a way
going on with that.
to, swap positions with Kobe, he would have his three with Shaq. And then when Shaq leaves, T Mac could have easily got Pau Gasol and won two more.
no, I didn't say that.
Yeah, you
I,
going
I didn't.
No,
you going
that's
off
how
of
y'all
it.
sound to me right now.
Well, you know how you
That's
sound to
how y'all
me.
sound to me.
Wait,
That shit sounds
You
crazy to
sound
me.
like you can't step off of the Kobe
I
legacy thing and
I
answer the
said
question
No,
about Shaq. That's exactly
no.
what you're doing. Every time somebody say something about Shaq, you bringing it back to Kobe, which all I keep asking is, hey, can you separate that and answer the Shaq thing? Kevin has, you haven't. You
I
just keep
did.
talking about
specifically
I
Kobe's
did.
accolades
I
over and
did.
over and over. Nobody is
I did.
debating and saying that Kobe wasn't great and that he didn't do it with Shaq.
I did.
You just
I
keep
did.
making the point about
I did
Kobe, Kobe,
answer it.
Kobe.
No, no, no. I did
Respect to
answer it. But
Kobe,
y'all,
but
listen,
you want to shut
check this
everybody
out.
down when somebody say something. You be like, no, 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 no. Let me
No,
finish what I gotta say. And it's like,
y'all,
damn,
y'all
damn, my nigga,
actually,
like
y'all actually shutting me down because I literally just
we shut
said,
you, Bong. We've been
I.
sitting listening to you speak about your point on this the whole time.
But
What are
it
you
could have
talking
simply,
about? We
it could
shut you
have,
down.
it could have been over 15 minutes ago if you guys would have just heard me when I said I don't think McGrady
We heard a lot.
wins a
no,
ring.
it wouldn't have been
I
over.
don't
It would have been
I
over
don't
because
think.
you got the last word. Like you got.
Listen, y'all can have your opinion.
We
Penny ain't
all
winning.
have our own opinions. Like
Penny
it is what it
Penny,
is.
and this is my opinion. And I said this a long time ago. Penny is not winning a championship with Shaq. He had an opportunity and he didn't. In McGrady's fantasy world, he's not winning a championship with Shaq either.
And I hear you, and that's your opinion. But when I say something, why it's like, oh, that's bullshit, and you doing all this. No, it's my opinion. So I'm
Uh,
not
uh,
I'm not gonna come at you with your okay. I'm sitting here calmly listening to your opinion, Bong. And you say what you saying,
this,
and then when I try to say what I'm saying, you're like, let me finish. Let me finish. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna let you finish. And then I keep coming back and I'm like, look, this is what I'm saying about Shaq's dominance. All I'm saying is when I talk about Shaq's dominance, I'm not looking at it as taking a shot at Kobe. That's all I'm saying. I understand what you're saying, KP and Bong, when y'all saying, well, niggas was talking about how Kobe couldn't do without Shaq. They start comparing Shaq to Penny. That's a totally separate argument from what I'm saying. I'm talking about X's and O's, dominance, player styles, all these things. Could these is it a realistic possibility of what they're talking about now, which these NBA players have those conversations? Do y'all think that realistically somebody like a McGrady could have won? Do y'all think that hey, if Kobe and Shaq could have, I mean, Kobe and that Shaq and Penny could have stayed together, they would have won a chip? And whenever you say that, I hear you, Bong. You quickly go to if the ifs and apparentlys and all of that. We're all doing that with these discussions. That's a part of these scenarios, a
Hey,
part of sports. That happens when you have these type of discussions.
DP and KP,
That's
I
the
know we're going.
crux of the goddamn art, the crux of the
I know
question.
we're gonna log off in a few, but can I ask y'all in Tracy McGrady's fantasy championship, is Phil Jackson there, or does it matter? Does the coach not matter either? Does he have Phil Jackson in his championship
It's not.
in his?
It's everything.
Oh,
Everything
okay.
that the Lakers have constructed. It's the coach. It's the players. You just all
It's
you're
just
doing is
replacing a
swapping
player. What is
Kobe
it?
and
It's just
T-Mac.
replacing a player, nigga. Like I don't get it. Like what is
Oh,
it?
oh, so that's why Penny couldn't win. He just
Oh
needed. They
shit.
needed Phil in Orlando, and Shaq would have never left because he'd have Phil, Penny. They'd have won 6
I mean, I don't
championships.
know, man. You know the Lakers. What was it? 4 seasons that they had Dale Harris before they had Phil. Weren't winning in L.A. when Shaq first came to L.A.
Okay, I see. I see, man. Hey,
I mean,
everybody, you
look,
can sign. You can sign.
A Kobe in Orlando with Shaq would have probably done the same thing. Going to the finals in a short period of time if they had that short stint together. I'm talking about Shaq. I'm talking about Shaq's dominance at the time. I know Kobe's maturation process eventually took over where he was like he was the man, not like he was the guy. But I'm just talking about Shaq. Like what could these top tier guards have done with that dominant Shaq at the time? And I think some other guys could have won a chip. I agree with that. That's all I was saying.
yeah, I think it's some. I think it's some.
And I wasn't specifically just talking about McGrady. Earlier, even in the draft thing, KP, I asked you, I said top tier guards at the time. I didn't single out. I know the recent thing was about McGrady. I think Bong that you were talking about on whatever on Gil's Arena or whatever. But I was just saying like the guys who you could pick out and say, oh, this was a dog two guard, or this guy, that guy.
I appreciate you, E. Gibson. You fighting a good fight with me, man. And I think E Bean Gaming, you was fighting a good fight with me. Even Dime Dropper, you know, hey, we live in reality, man. But I guess there's a parallel universe where you could put Brandon Roy out there with Shaq, and he gonna get him one. And then you can put
I think
Yeah,
you could.
yeah,
then you can
yes, a
put
healthy Brandon Roy.
I think you
then you can
could.
put Derek Harper out there
Maybe
with Shaq. He gonna get him one.
Nah,
maybe
I
you
didn't
didn't
say
watch
Derek
enough
Carr.
Brandon Roy.
Derek Harper was
Good.
out there at one point.
Maybe you didn't watch enough Brandon Roy. Where's E Gibson? Let him know something about Brandon Roy. E Gibson.
Uh,
He might be he might be lost in a
I
parallel
think
universe right
Brandon
now.
Roy would get
Speaking on
one.
Brandon Roy.
and you can put an Andre Miller out there. Let him go shoot. Get his
Come
off
on,
with Shaq.
man. Come on. Now
I
you
mean,
making me
I'm
feel the
just. Hey,
part.
no, I'm just.
Nah.
Come
Look.
on,
Bong will go to
Hey,
the extremes, dog. When you don't agree with him, and we
come
go on and on and on, then it's
on,
going to the
Paul.
extremes.
I,
Apparently, you can go get your uncle who cooking at the barbecue grill, who used to play in high school, and he could
Come
lace
on,
him up
man.
and
Yeah,
win one
come
with
on.
Shaq, right?
why not?
Yeah. See,
Nah,
exactly.
nah.
Like
Come on.
Why not?
Come on.
I
Come
mean,
on, Bong.
what?
Come on. Come
I
on.
mean,
Come on,
hey,
Bong.
I'm just saying, man.
Nah, you know what you're doing.
Everybody eats, B.
Nah, man, you know what you're doing.
Everybody eats.
Nah.
yeah,
We're talking about elite two guards right now.
yeah. It's hey man.
Who?
We talk about elite two guards.
Oh, hey, man. It's all good.
So if you take I mean,
If you take a who,
I was gonna say if you take a Harden in his prime, maybe you win with Shaq, Shaq and Harden, maybe,
Free throw merchant.
maybe.
Harden's been in situations where he was required to close games to advance.
But you're talking, but you're not. But Harden's not the main guy. It's Shaq. Shaq is the main guy.
But that's the difference is that a lot of times down the stretch, Kobe closed games. Like the problem with Harden is that when we put him in a situation where even we're just asking him to just go close games, he can't do that.
I I think it was less times than I think it was less times than the games, man, that Kobe was closing. I don't think it was that many. I know it was the Indiana Pacers in the playoffs when Shaq fouled out. I do know that, but it wasn't a
The
whole
only
bunch of
the
games.
only series where it was Shaq domination was the Nets series. That Nets series, that Lakers Nets series, Shaq averaged like 40.
That was when they three-peated.
And he dunked. You see him dunking on like four people.
Aaron
Just-
Williams, no chance. Todd McCulloch, get out of
but
here.
playing against the Philadelphia team, remember they had six man of the year, they had MVP, coach of the
Man,
year.
that Philadelphia team was. There ain't no way they should have made it.
What do you mean?
The
That's come on. Don't be
What, to the
disrespectful.
final?
Don't
Yeah,
be disrespectful to that was AI. They had Aaron McKee. Was the Kim Mutombo on that team?
Aaron McKee wasn't good like that.
He was the sixth man of the fucking year. They
Okay,
just giving that
that,
away.
that, that's 1 year.
But what I'm
Look at
saying is
look at the
that
course of his career.
no, no, no. I'm
We're
talking
not
about
looking at Aaron McKee like, oh man, that nigga Aaron
now.
McKee.
Now we're discrediting a six man of the year because he didn't have other six man of the year awards.
No, I said look at his stats over the course of his career.
So
Is
that
what I
means
said.
if
Like,
you having a season, KP, the MVP, which is the best player on the you put five guys on the court, he was the best player in the league. That's Allen Iverson,
you talking about Iverson?
MVP. This says that when you go to your backups, this is the best first guy off the bench in the league in Aaron McKee. Because of that, you guys have coach of the year, and I think you had defensive player of the year that year too in Dikembe Mutombo. Like, what the fuck didn't they? You mean they and for KP to come out of his mouth and say they did not deserve to be in the finals, and then y'all want to argue me down about shit with ifs and buts and mitts and nuts and
You
what are we
you
talking
you
about?
doing the same thing though, Bong.
That-
Who whenever we talk about sports, hey, calm down, dog. It's okay. Hey, we all still breathing. Whenever we have a discussion, dog, it is if ands and buts when you're talking about all of these things in different scenarios and comparing players and talking. You're talking the history of basketball and then comparing players. How are you not going to have ifs and buts in different scenarios? That's the first thing you jump to. And a lot of times when we having these discussions, like, nigga, you're the main one who throws out hypotheticals sometimes.
Dwayne DP.
Oh, now I'm Dwayne.
All I'm
Like you said,
all
now
I'm
I'm Dwayne. Like you were
all I'm
saying, now I'm
all I'm
Dwayne.
all I'm
one,
asking you
two,
is
three,
if KP just came out of his mouth and said
five.
that a team that
I
boasted.
listen. I agree with you on
Okay,
that
that's
part.
all I'm
But
talking
but
about.
then you went back to say, but y'all arguing me on the if ands and buts.
I'm
When you
saying
add that,
And
I'm going to address that.
no.
The
I
first part that you said,
Aaron
I
McKee
agree
no.
played.
with you.
If
Aaron
we were,
McKee played 13 seasons, right, Bong?
I don't care about his other
He,
12
he,
seasons,
he
bro.
played 13 seasons.
I don't care about his other 12,
The
KP.
man
That has nothing
averaged
to do with the
7
argument.
points a game for his career, 3 rebounds, and 2.7 assists. So we'll round that up to three for his career. Aaron McKee wasn't knocking it out the park. He had a good season that year, but collectively, Philly didn't have they didn't have a good team. That wasn't a good team that year. They got Mutombo, and that put them over the top
Who
to
did they beat
contend
in
for
the
the
in the
East.
Eastern Conference?
Vince
Huh?
Carter and the
They beat
Toronto
the
Raptors.
Raptors. Yeah,
It
When
did.
Allen Iverson and Vince Carter were trading 50-point
yeah,
games.
yeah.
Like,
That's right.
Yeah,
okay.
Iverson had some hellified individual performances, but Philly, what they weren't a good team.
Okay.
What?
No, because
I mean,
What I said is I'm going
but
to
your
use that
remark was
argument.
they didn't deserve it. I don't know. I don't
I'm
necessarily
going to
agree
use
with
that
that.
argument. If I'm in a court of law, I'm going to use that argument to discredit any other argument you make because it sounds ridiculous. So now DP is ready to say, I'm not going there with you. No, nigga, if you presented this argument in the court of law, nigga, the defense or the prosecution or whichever side was on would ask the judge to strike all your shit out of there as a non-credible witness.
What do you mean? I said I'm not
No,
going
no,
there with him.
because when I said that, hey man, I'm not gonna have the Kobe argument with a nigga that just told me that a team that boasted the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, and Coach of the Year did not deserve to be in the finals.
Yeah, that's not what you said a minute ago. Now I agree with you. What you said a minute ago was y'all can't talk to me about if, ands, and buts and all of that. That's the only point I was saying. Like, why do you always do that when we talk about this shit? I hear what you're saying about the Sixers. I'm actually on your side about the Sixers shit that you just said. I actually agree with you,
But
not
see, I don't.
KP.
No. But then
So
that's why I'm saying I parlayed it into, and for that reason, I
n-
can't take your
now you said that.
no.
Now you said
Yeah.
that just now. A minute. That's why I
I
said
wasn't
you're clear. A
I
minute
wasn't
ago, that's
sold
not
on
what
that
you
Philly
said.
team then. I'm not sold on that Philly team now. They were fortunate. They lucked up. They
I
you
mean,
know they squeaked past Milwaukee 4-3. They squeaked past Denver 4-3. They gave Indiana a good thrashing, and then they got to the Lakers and they lucked up. Iverson had a 51-point game, and they beat LA, caught them
Yeah.
by surprise. But overall, were they a good? No, they weren't a good team. Man.
but they, but would you
I had
say?
to parlay it.
Would you say
Um,
that the 76ers finals team was a gritty team?
Yeah, they were a gritty team.
So I mean, they were gritty and they did what they needed to do and had a superstar in Allen Iverson that put them over the top.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I respect it. The Lakers were just better than everybody.
and
I mean,
and
yeah,
But
I'm like
but
listening
Philly,
to the
but
thing. This
Philly,
and can
they
we
had
go
a
on the record and say that that Philadelphia team was the only team in that playoff run to get a win off the Lakers. The Lakers had they 4-0, 3-0,
I'm
4-0.
gonna read this roster to you.
But hold on, do you hear
I'm
me
just
though?
gonna
I
read the
don't.
roster to you.
Can we make that point? Can we make that distinction?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
Philadelphia team in that playoff run that the Lakers were on. That's how dominant they were. Or maybe I guess I'm sorry. That's how dominant Shaq was. That he was able to blow through the Western Conference without a loss, and he must have
now
averaged.
now you
He
talking.
must he must
Now
have averaged 60
now you
to, to,
talking.
to put
Now
him
you
away.
talking.
But
Yeah.
apparently
Now
Shaq
you
was
cooking with fish grease. Now you cooking with that grease and that spatula and shit that your uncle had at the grill that we could throw with Shaq in the game
And
and get the
absolutely.
chip on. Now
listen
you
Okay,
to this,
cooking.
listen to this
go,
squad:
go ahead.
Rajah Bell, Rodney Buford, Matt Geiger, Tyrone Hill, Allen Iverson, Jermaine Jones, Tony Kukoc, George Lynch, Todd McCulloch, Vernon Maxwell, Aaron McKee, Anthony Miller, Nazi Muhammad,
Hey,
Dikembe
my boy Eric
Mutombo,
Snow.
Kevin Ali, um, Theo Ratliff, and Eric Snow.
But those were
Theo
you're,
Ratliff was cool. Dikembe
a lot of them.
Mutombo was
A
cool.
lot of them was cool, but we can't remember all those games from all those many years ago. So now you can just throw names out there and make it seem
George
like they was
George
all
Lynch was solid. Pause.
washed up at the same time. Like,
I,
oh man, he threw
uh,
together a
I'm
team
sa-
with
I'm saying
12.
this has 2007 Cleveland Cavalier vibes, man.
Yeah, but I'm just
That's what
saying,
this is
well,
giving me.
what is but then go to the Raptors roster. Look at the field. That's all I'm saying. You're talking about Philly, and you're not even looking at the rest of the field and talking about they don't deserve it, and you haven't even looked at the rest of the field. How do the
Hey,
other teams look? Why don't you go through everybody else's roster? Start with
he
Toronto,
doing
who
that.
they
He
played
doing that.
in
He
in the
doing that
Eastern
Muggsy
Conference
FYF
Bogues,
Finals.
shit. He doing that
Muggsy
FYF
Bogues,
shit.
Vince Carter, Chris Childs, Keon Clark, Tyrone Corbin, Dale Curry, Antonio Davis,
Same vibes is going on
Mark
right here.
Jackson, Eric Montross, Tracy Murray,
Same vibes.
Charles Oakley,
Come
Mo
on,
Peterson,
KP.
Michael Stewart, Alvin Williams, Jerome Williams,
So what?
Corliss
So what are
Williamson,
we saying,
and
man?
Evan
So
Willis.
what are we saying?
It's all nasty, is what we're saying.
I'm just saying, but you talking about
So give me the
so
Lakers
why
roster
doesn't
while you're at
Philadelphia?
it.
Why didn't Philadelphia deserve it though?
Uh,
Because that was your statement.
yeah, I thought Milwaukee was the better team. I thought the Milwaukee Bucks were a better team than them.
It was that the Michael Red led.
No,
With
that was Ray Allen,
Yeah, Ray Allen was still there.
Rafer Alston, Jason Caffey, Sam Cassell, Darvin Ham, Jason Hart, Lindsey Hunter, Irvin Johnson, not to be confused with Magic Johnson.
Is that when Sam Cassell got hurt with the big balls dance?
I don't know.
No, I don't
Jerome
think.
Kersey, Mark Pope,
He did it in Milwaukee.
Joe Prisbilla, Michael Red was on that team, Glenn Robinson, Tim Thomas, and Scott Williams.
Okay,
On
I'll
paper,
give you
you would
that.
say that
I'll
that's
give
a
you
better
that.
team, right?
Yeah,
I
but
thought, not just on paper, I thought it was a better team. I thought it was actually a better team. They just end up losing 4-3.
Now you see why they had Defensive Player of the Year, why they had an MVP, probably why they had a Six Man of the Year that only averaged 7 points a game for his career, and
Yeah,
why they
he
had
averaged
Coach of
12.
the
He
Year,
averaged 12 that year.
right? And how they were able to get one game and put a blemish, right? Remember that shit in 300 where you got that big ass giant come up and got the
where he
nose
threw the
ring and all
shit
that
at
shit?
him, yeah,
Yeah,
threw
like
the
this
arrow.
motherfucker,
Jersey.
please. I just want to get a
King,
cut off this on this motherfucker. That's all.
King
That's all
Jersey.
Philly want to do.
King
Philly
Jersey.
just want to get a cut off on these niggas. Like y'all niggas human too, man. Go get that loss. Y'all niggas ain't God. And then they got swept afterwards. But again, they were the only team to get a win off. And I'm just saying, don't do that, KP, to say that they didn't even deserve to be in the finals. That's blasphemous.
How's that blasphemous? Because they got a win against the Lakers.
True, E. Gibson. Everybody around AI embraced the roles on that team,
Yep,
and AI is the one that took him, you know, took him to try to get a shot at the promised land.
yep,
They didn't make it,
yep,
but AI was the difference maker on that squad, and with a in a room full of scrappy dudes who knew how to play their role.
yep.
So it was a version of the Pacers at that time, but you got a superstar like AI.
That's true. All right. Well, is that it?
So, yeah, I don't know, KP. I can't rock with you on the dating. I hear what you're saying.
The
Maybe
boy
not the
say on that
best
freeway
team.
insurance commercial, I can't take that ride. Ooh.
I hear you though on the way the roster looks, but
Yeah.
when it came down to them versus Toronto for that Eastern Conference Finals, and they made it happen.
No,
So
no, no, no. Well,
That
yeah,
was that the year that they played Toronto?
yeah.
Right?
I thought that was the second. I felt like it was the second round,
let me
but
go back. Hold on.
I felt like it was the second round.
Hold up.
And yeah, I mean, Philly won the 4 games. They won a couple close ones. Shout out to them. but I didn't think they were the better team that year.
It was the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's my bad.
yeah. I thought
All
so.
right,
I mean,
that was me. That was me. That was
I
me.
thought the Bucks were the better team.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they saw them in the semis. They beat them 4-3. They beat Toronto 4-3 in the semis.
but that's, I mean, shit. To overcome the team that you thought was the better team and then say that they don't deserve it,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
and maybe they don't get past Toronto if Vince Carter doesn't go to his graduation
I remember that.
and get that degree that day. Maybe
Hey,
if he's
man.
at the gym a little earlier,
Hey,
Toronto wins that game.
Lakers
Hey,
were the 2 seed. Lakers were the 2 seed, beat Portland 3-0 in the first round as a 7 seed. Then got Sacramento as the 3 seed and beat them 4-0 in the second round. Then faced San Antonio, who was the 1 seed, and beat them 4-0 in the Western Conference Finals.
Okay, you know
and,
what?
and then I'll go on the other side, Bong.
Kobe went
You
off
had
in that series.
you
I
had
think
the
Kobe had a couple 40-point games in that series.
a Bong on the other side. You had the Sixers. Only easy road, if you want to call it that, was the Pacers 3-1. Semifinals and the conference finals went 7 games against the Raptors and the Bucks. So
As
they
the
had to
five, and Philadelphia was the 1 seed.
so they had to scrap that shit out.
There's a reason that they got the sixth man of the year, defensive player of the year, MVP, and coach as the 1 seed out the East, and
And
showed
then got smacked by the
that they,
Lakers.
hey, relatively speaking, they did better than anybody in the West could have, and that's back when the West was tough. That's Duncan. That's who they play in the semi Sacramento. That's Chris Webber and them boys. And then in the first round, Portland. I forgot who was. I don't know if that was if she was still there because she went to he got traded to Detroit, and it might have been earlier in that '04 year,
It
the
was
year that they won.
he got traded to Atlanta, and Atlanta bought him out his contract, and then he went to Detroit.
I remember because I was in college and I knew his brother, and I used to always talk shit to his older brother. And when the shit happened with where he got traded to Philly, we were out paintballing, and he was talking shit. And after they beat us in the finals that year, after they beat the Lakers in the finals that year, yeah, he wouldn't shut up about it. But
Hmm.
yeah. That was good times. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. This has been a very spirited discussion. E being gaming. E Gibson, appreciate y'all for hanging on and sticking with us. I know engineer probably in there somewhere, but I'm saying all y'all for fucking with us, man. Y'all didn't damn. Hey KP, how long was the first live?
Over 4 hours.
Yeah, I kept losing reception, man.
I put in
How
the
many times did I log in? Welcome back, DP. I was like, shit.
engineer
Hey,
said he's working.
we done gave niggas 7
Yeah,
hours.
KP with that marathon, man.
Yeah.
7 hours.
You hung in
Yeah,
there for
KP looked like he about to go as soon as he get off. As soon as he get off this live, his eyes is going like this.
Sleep before the computer closes. Hey man.
Hey, he go wake up when the computer hit the ground. Oh shit! Oh, shit! Hey man, appreciate y'all for fucking with us, man. That was fun. That
Absolutely.
was fun. That was fun. Any final
oh.
thoughts?
But there go the
Go,
balloons.
go final
Balloons
thoughts. We
going.
out. We
Two
out.
peas
We
in
out.
the bong. We
We out.
out.
We out. We out.